Chapter 366. Su Fong waved his right arm, and a poisonous gas suddenly appeared. Watch carefully. The helper is in my hands. As expected, poisonous gas. The black-robed woman was attracted by the poisonous gas in surprise. The poisonous gas was released by Su Fong and turned into boundless energy. Along with Su Fong's palm, Su Fong grabbed at the poisonous energy surrounding them. Tut-tut. Su Fong did not attack the 10,000 poisonous silver snakes above, but the imprisoned poisonous energy behind them. This palm also contained the 5 poisons true qi, and it caused a hole to appear in the true qi controlled by more than 20 experts. Why are you still not leaving? Seizing the opportunity to escape towards the skeleton, he shouted at the black-robed woman. Russell. Both of them were not afraid of the poisonous 5 poisons true qi spreading in the air. They flew out from the hole and immediately escaped into the thick gray clouds. They actually managed to struggle out. After a moment, the Bannerlord realized that the 2 of them had escaped. He and the young Bannerlord led a group of experts and chased into the gray haze forest. Are you also a disciple of the 5 Poisons Divine Sect? From the first time I saw you, I felt a familiar aura from your body. In the depths of the gray haze forest, 2 figures shot out like sparks and quickly passed through the forest. The black-robed woman used her divine perception and asked in surprise. Su Fong was not surprised. He already felt that the other party seemed to have noticed something. Actually, I obtained a Dharma treasure from the 5 Poisons Divine Sect a long time ago. Could you tell what kind of Dharma treasure it is? Is it the Rakshasa Jade Vase? Yes. You are quite lucky. I have been searching in the Outer Realm Fog Forest for a long time. The Rakshasa Jade Vase was one of the treasures I wanted to find. I did not expect you to beat me to it. From what you were saying, could it be that you still want to snatch the Rakshasa Jade Vase from me? Then you are wrong. Although I am from the 5 Poisons Divine Sect, the reality is that the 5 Poisons Divine Sect has already declined. Since the Divine Sect is no longer around, those rules and regulations have no binding effect on anyone. I just want to become stronger and go to the great world. Hiss, hiss. Just as the black-robed woman finished speaking, there was some movement behind them. When they turned around, they saw numerous myriad poisonous silver snakes chasing after them. The silver snake of 10,000 poisons could track the 5 poisons Jinchi. It looked like the Banner Master was attacking from behind. Exalted Person Yuzhan transmitted his divine perception. Master, you should act separately from the 5 poisons true body. The Bannerlord and the others will not let her off. You don't have the 5 poisons true qi. The myriad poison silver snake can't do anything to you. If that was really the case, it was fortunate that Exalted Master Yuezhan had been secretly protecting him. If it wasn't for this ancient crocodile, he would have left by himself long ago. She immediately communicated with Rakshasa Yu Qingping. If the 5 Poisons true body really came from the headquarters of the 5 Poisons Divine Sect and was created by the Lord of 5 Poisons and those powerful giants, would it be easier for her to find the remains of the Lord of 5 Poisons than you? Indeed, as Master thought, the 5 Poisons true body will even possess some of the power of the Lord of 5 Poisons. Her senses are much stronger than mine. If I can sense Tenjiang, she can sense Tenjiang. If that's the case, he made up his mind and ordered Exalted Person Yuzhan. I came to the Wu Tan domain to increase my strength. You follow me in the dark. I want to obtain resources in the midst of battle and increase my strength. Exalted Person Yuzhan didn't say anything else and hid in the dark, becoming Su Fong's most loyal protector. The Bannerlord is just 100 meters behind us. If it wasn't for the power of the Outer Realm, he could use his divine image to suppress us at this distance. At this moment, the black-robed woman glanced behind her, and her expression changed. He originally had the strength to kill you, but he didn't. In his eyes, you and I are just too prey for him to hunt. So you and I have to work together. You have a Rakshasa Yu Qingping and came to the Outer Realms Fog Forest. Don't you want to obtain more treasures? I don't really want to. With experts like you and the Bannerlord, what can I get? I don't have any strong points. Knowing my own strength is an advantage. You are an interesting person, but you still have to escape from this predicament. The black-robed woman glanced behind her again. She slowed down a little and released figures from her palm. They were all poison men. From the heaven fusion realm to the young infant realm, there were more than a dozen poison men. The difficulty of controlling poison men was the same as controlling puppets and servants. A mortal cultivator could only control 1 to 3 servants at most. Only those with the ability could control a large number of servants. Let's go. The black-robed woman's gaze focused in front of her. Her aura shook and her speed suddenly increased. When Su Fong summoned his flying sword, he looked at the poison men behind him and saw that each of them had turned into an array. The poison men embedded themselves in the array, forming a huge spider. The 5 poison divine sect's ultimate techniques were indeed endless. However, such a large force was classified as an evil sect and was not tolerated by the righteous path. For example, poison men, poison refinement, 5 poison true body, etc., all of them wanted to take away a large number of innocent people. In a breath's time, they had already entered another floating forest. Below them, they could vaguely see the vast land. The dozen poison men could only delay them for a short while. In order to shake off those experts as soon as possible, the 2 flew out from the other end of the floating forest and entered the depths of the land. Master, you have already shaken off those evil sect people. Should this subordinate show himself? In the mountain range, the 2 were still flying. At this moment, Reverend Yuezhan's voice came from behind them. It's still not time. I still don't know who the enemy is and what kind of predicament we will face. If we are in danger, you can help me. Continuing to have Reverend Yuezhan hide behind them, he believed that no matter how powerful the 5 poison divine sects techniques were, they would only be able to sense poison cultivators. As for Reverend Yuezhan, they would not be able to easily sense him. It's about time. An hour later, the black-robed woman stopped in a valley. At this moment, her eyes were as frightening as a viper's. With a glance, Su Fong had some confidence. As the 5 poison true body, the black-robed woman should have some of the innate abilities of a snake demon. For example, the silver snake's ability to sense 5 poison true chi meant that the black-robed woman's senses were even greater than the Rakshasa jade bottle. The 5 poison true body was not only strange, but also terrifying. Hey! The 2 entered a natural cave in the cliff. After sitting down, the black-robed woman left behind a sensing formation. She then nodded to Su Fong. There are 5 poison men in the Rakshasa jade bottle. You know that, right? How do you know? Could it be that she really wanted to target him? I also heard about it. No, I won't hide it. I can sense the Rakshasa jade bottle, and it can also sense my identity. Is that right? Well, that is indeed the case. Su Fong straightforwardly admitted it. The black-robed woman smiled. Then why did you ask when you already know the answer? You men are all dishonest. It's not that I'm dishonest, but my cultivation base is only at the undying realm. I have to be careful about everything. Your identity is the 5 poison true body that was sealed in the poison pool by the sect master and many experts tens of thousands of years ago when the 5 poison divine sect was still around. Su Fong defended himself. Back then, the sect master had left behind 7 poison pawns, intending to cultivate 7 5 poisons true bodies for him and the great elder of the sect to possess and cultivate the 5 poisons true body. But who would have thought that the sect master had failed his tribulation and sealed the main altar? When the experts of the sect found out that the sect master had fallen, they all rebelled and changed sides, causing hundreds of years of internal strife within the 5 poisons divine sect. In the end, the sect was not destroyed by the other powers, but was instead destroyed by its own people. In the tens of thousands of years, the poison men and the other 6 poison pawns, due to the lack of energy, were all turned into dust halfway through their journey. But I also had some luck, the black-robed woman continued. Back then, I was a banner lord within the 5 poisons divine sect. My position was not comparable to the great elders, but I was still a banner lord who controlled tens of thousands of people. But just as I ascended to the position of banner lord, I was framed by a great elder and was personally punished by the sect master, refining me into a poison man and imprisoning me in a poison pond to refine the 5 poisons true body. I thought that I was doomed, but the heavens had eyes. Back then, I had accidentally obtained an incomplete evil sect spirit refinement cultivation technique, which was an immortal grade cultivation technique. I didn't expect you to have such an experience. Your life is so rough. After hearing that, he was greatly moved. He didn't expect her to be punished by the Lord of 5 poisons. It was the same as refining her into a servant or puppet. She didn't have her own will and was just a walking corpse. But in the end, she walked out of the predicament and obtained the 5 poisons true body. If the Lord of 5 poisons was still alive, he definitely wouldn't believe that such a thing would happen in his hands. Even so, he still wouldn't easily believe her. Rakshasa Yu Champing secretly transmitted, "Master, ask her what her name is, and I'll know if she's lying to you." Su Fong thought about it and raised this question. The black-robed woman also directly replied that she was called the Evil Divine Mother. Back then, she had a catastrophe realm cultivation. She also mentioned the origin of the elder who had framed her. As for Rakshasa Yu Champing, he also knew about the Evil Divine Mother. It was just that he had never interacted with her before. After all, a higher-up who had just become a banner master was unable to understand everything about the 5 poisons divine sect. You're testing me. The Evil Divine Mother was very intelligent. The 5 poisons true body turned me into a monster, but it didn't turn me into a fool. You don't believe me. We just met by chance. You can't expect me to be completely devoted to you, right? Being interrogated like this, Su Fong also felt somewhat helpless, but he had to be honest. He had to let her see his sincerity. Back then, the Lord of 5 poisons pushed me into the abyss of eternal damnation. Therefore, the 5 poisons divine sect is actually nothing in my eyes. I'm also no longer a banner master. You and I can work together to find the other treasures, as well as the corpse of the Lord of 5 poisons. The Evil Divine Mother's voice also became much gentler. The 5 poisons heavenly king cauldron, the 5 true treasures, and the sect master's body contains the 5 poisons true chi. I can fuse with his body. If you and I work together, we can split the 5 poisons heavenly king cauldron and the 5 true treasures equally. How about it? 5 true treasures. Why haven't I heard of it before? Master, the 5 true treasures are the 5 true treasures refined from the blood goo, the horned scorpion, the white toad, the silver snake, and the spirit spider. After raising them for 10,000 years, they're the 5 true treasures refined from the 5 great monsters. Combined, they're the 5 true treasures. That kind of magic treasure is not suitable for Master to use, but for the 5 poisons true body, it is a tailor-made treasure. Rakshasa Yu Champing promptly explained to Su Fong. After pondering for a few breaths, Su Fong immediately nodded. Let's cooperate. I want the 5 poisons heavenly king cauldron. I don't want anything else. What do you think? The Evil Divine Mother was very happy. This time, it's really straightforward. In fact, there are still many magic treasures scattered in the outer realm fog forest. Because I have the power left behind by the sect master in my body, I can finally come to the Wu-Tan realm and find the outer realm fog forest. I can confirm that the sect master's corpse is somewhere in the depths. You and I can both benefit. Why don't you have a plan? The plan has long been thought of. I need to activate the Rakshasa Yu Champing with you and cooperate with me to sense the aura of the Lord of 5 poisons. I estimate that in less than half a month, we can find the specific location of the corpse. And when we find the corpse, we can find a 5 poisons heavenly king cauldron and activate the seal. We can use the seal to find the whereabouts of the heavenly king cauldron. Let's go. The two of them hit it off and flew out of the canyon. Chapter 367. Hiss. Just as Su Fong and the Evil Divine Mother left, several foot-long silver snakes came out of the ground and sniffed in the air, their tongues slowly sucking in some special spiritual chi. Outside the canyon, the two of them passed through a mountain-like forest. When they were in the air, they found that the surrounding forest was not moving quickly. The Evil Divine Mother formed a hand seal, and her body under the black robe seemed to contain an aura that could control the surrounding space. Five poisoned true body, the evil divine mother's current strength, was between the calamity realm and the yang nascent realm. Before she had turned into a poison man, she was already in the calamity realm. Thus, her five poisoned true body had actually reached the calamity realm. As long as she increased her strength, she would have the strength of a calamity realm expert. Rakshasa Jade Changping. After waiting for a moment, Su Fong also began to form hand seals. A five-color poison gas was emitted from his palm. The five colors were mainly gray, white, and black. When they fused together, it was similar to a cloudy day. Rakshasa Jade Changping's energy entered the evil divine mother's hand seal. For more heads appeared around her. However, they were not real, but illusory. She was using the five poisoned true body's ability. In his shock, he secretly communicated with Rakshasa Jade Changping. Rakshasa's primordial spirit introduced. Master, the five poisoned true body is extremely extraordinary. Before the five great poison men were suppressed, their strength and abilities were all fused with the true body. Thus, this evil divine mother has the abilities of five great experts, especially that silver snake head. It can allow her perception and tracking abilities to reach a level that even a banner master cannot compare to. In that case, not only does she have five abilities, she also has 5 times the strength of an ordinary cultivator. That's true. The five poison true body is so extraordinary. Unfortunately, it can allow a person to have 5 times the strength of an opponent of the same level. However, they have to pay a price in exchange for that strength. Rumor has it that the first sect master of the five poison divine sect cultivated the five poison true body. That was how he was able to move unhindered through the small worlds and establish a powerful sect. At that time, the five poison divine sect became the #1 evil sect, the king of evil. In that case, the evil divine mother will become a peerless expert in the future. Of course, she already is everything that everyone in the evil cult is envious of. I'm afraid that she wants to find the corpse of the Lord of Five Poisons so that she can absorb the cult Lord of Five Poisons' essence and increase her strength again. She might even want to seize the corpse of the Lord of Five Poisons. In short, if she obtains the corpse of the Lord of Five Poisons, her strength will increase by 100-fold in a short period of time. Then I'll cooperate with her. Release more of your power. After secretly chatting, Su Fong seemed to have a new idea. The evil divine mother immediately felt the majestic power. Her eyes were sometimes deep, sometimes confused, and sometimes turned into the eyes of a snake. About 2 hours later, there's nothing within 10,000 meters. The seal disappeared, and the evil divine mother returned to normal. Somewhat disappointed, she once again moved forward with Su Fong. After flying for 10,000 meters, the evil divine mother began to sense again. Just like that, the two of them walked and stopped, using the 10,000-meter radius as their sensing space. Along the way, they sensed many floating forests and the depths of the earth, but they didn't find anything. On this night, the night in the outer realms wasn't actually dark. It was just that there was an extra layer of silence and black clouds. At the center of a floating forest, Su Fong and the evil divine mother were resting in the canopy of 2 large trees. I've already refined all the ice heart and fire heart I obtained in the Shinja Gate. As for the many high-grade spirit herbs and immortal herbs, I've left them to refine the life, seizing recreating pill and other medicinal pills. The undying fruit is something I can only use when I break through to the Yang Soul realm or when I encounter a great calamity. Releasing the power of a perfect saint to sense the surroundings, and adding on the fact that exalted Yuezhan was hiding in the depths, Su Fong was constantly on guard. He was also using the 9 Yang, 9 transformations to cultivate. The heaven-worshipping palm art's power is very shocking. Of the 7 great divine abilities of the immortal sealing sect, only Little Yellow's heavenly god astral energy might be able to reach the same level as the heaven-worshipping palm art in the future. palm imprints floated around Su Fang's body as he condensed them. The palm imprints were in the form of two hands slightly pressed together. It was as if there were countless experts hidden in the depths slapping their hands around Su Fang. Buzz. A moment later, countless palm imprints appeared, then vanished. Two enormous palms closed around Su Fang. If they had been used offensively, they would have crushed Su Fang into mincemeat in the blink of an eye. Who could have guessed that Su Fang was an undying cultivator who could use immortal-class energy arts as he pleased? The heaven-worshipping palm technique was an incomplete technique that had absorbed the quintessence of the sealing mark in the immortal world. Su Fang had only been able to absorb a portion of it. Even so, it was still enough for Su Fang, his junior captain, and his servant to cultivate. To any organization, the quintessence techniques of the mortal world, such as the 7 divine abilities, were the foundation upon which they could establish themselves. As for high-grade energy arts, such as the heaven-worshipping palm technique, they were like seasoning and were the core of the organization's power. Su Fang wasn't lacking in resources. What he lacked was time. For example, a single drop of quintessence blood from King Icebound's corpse would be enough to strengthen his fleshly body. Once he reached the Great Circle, he would be able to unlock even more unknown abilities. It was impossible to grow fat in one sitting. It was the same no matter how many resources one had. One had to have enough time to digest and fuse them to achieve a powerful goal. Of course, there was a more direct method. Empowerment. For example, he could have exalted Master Yuezhen or Li Zuching cleanse Su Fang's marrow and use the empowerment divine ability to directly strengthen Su Fang's fleshly body to the great circle of marrow cleansing and raise his cultivation base. But in this way, when he fought Prince Shui, it wouldn't be Su Fang fighting him, but rather the power of a major power. Instead of accepting the empowerment, it would be better to have exalted Master Yuezhen kill Prince Shui, once and for all. One had to live with dignity. Su Fang's personality was not one to ask for help for everything. From the state of Zhao to the present, from a youth who couldn't cultivate to the expert who could shake the cultivation world, he had taken one step at a time, making his way through the pits. If he obtained the third part of the purple Qi Dharma spirit, then Su Fang was completely confident that he could fight Prince Shui 10 years later. Once the 3 parts of the purple Qi Dharma spirit were fused and he had a complete Dharma spirit, Su Fang could perfectly fuse with the Xianhuang 6 Paths Pagoda and have a natal magic treasure. Once the natal magic treasure was formed, coupled with the ability to reach the great circle of body refinement, as well as other means, even if Su Fang's cultivation base couldn't reach Prince Shui's level, he could still fight Prince Shui. I have to speed up the pace of suppressing the small commanders. This time, when I fight Prince Shui, I still have to rely on the mysterious yellow. The more small commanders the mysterious yellow suppresses, the more power it can provide me. His train of thought was very clear. Su Fang thought that he was still at the undying 7th stage, and his strength was only around the undying 5th stage. He couldn't even reach the Yang nascent realm. So how could he be a match for a catastrophe realm expert? Advantage. As if the green feather monarch had reminded him, Su Fang began to use his own advantages. Only by using his advantages perfectly could he win against the strong. In the end, it wasn't the Origin Saint realm, nor was it the Pearl Dao artifact obtained from the Xinjia Gate, nor was it the Rakshasa Jade Vase. The Fire Deity Elephant, the Fire Crystal Golem, the Fire Cloud Spirit Gourd, and other Dharma treasures were all in the process of being upgraded. Even if he took them out, it was impossible to fight Prince Shui. Prince Shui's strength was unfathomable. Even a high-grade Dharma treasure couldn't compete with him. Only the Xianhuang 6 Paths Pagoda could. In order to stimulate the Xianhuang 6 Paths Pagoda, he had to fuse with it perfectly or obtain the purple Qi Dharma spirit. But now, there was only one choice, which was to wantonly suppress the small commanders. In the future, when he fought Prince Shui, he could absorb the power of countless small commanders and contend with him. Can you give me the 5 great poisonous humans? It doesn't matter if you don't give me the 5 great poisonous humans. Can you let the Rakshasa jade vase extract some of the 5 poison essence for me to cultivate? The evil divine mother, who was 100 meters away, suddenly transmitted her thoughts. He couldn't refuse, and if he wanted to find the corpse of the Lord of 5 poisons, he had to rely on the evil divine mother. The stronger she was, the more likely she would be to obtain the 5 poisons heavenly king cauldron. After a while, a poison rune flew out from Su Fang's palm. 100 meters away, in the canopy, a hand seal caught the rune. Within the canopy, the evil divine mother smiled and said, "Many thanks. I used to be a catastrophe realm cultivator, and the 4 great poisonous humans I possessed also had catastrophe realm bodies when they were alive. I just regained my freedom from the 5 poisons divine sect, and my strength is about the same as a Yang Soul realm cultivator. I still need a lot of 5 poison essence to recover my strength. This is why I want to obtain the corpse of the Lord of 5 poisons and the 5 true Dharma treasures." After resting for a few days, the two went out to sense the aura of the 5 poisons again. After passing through a large number of floating mountains and forests, they entered the depths of the outer realm misty forest. They were almost lost in the outer realm misty forest. Buzz! At this moment, the evil divine mother was sensing something. Suddenly, the aura around her shook, forming a 10,000 poisons silver snake. The silver snake stuck out its tongue and kept spitting to the left. Su Fang, who was standing at the back, hurriedly went forward, found it. There's a faint aura. I'm not sure if it's the Lord of 5 poisons or the treasure scattered here. It's probably the corpse of the Lord of 5 poisons. After all, I can feel a trace of pure 5 poisons true chi. That's something magical treasures can't release. After tens of thousands of years, the corpse of the Lord of 5 poisons still hasn't decayed. The cultivation of the Lord of 5 poisons has already reached the level of ascending immortal. It's equivalent to half an immortal. Even if it's in a vile environment, it won't be easily decayed in tens of thousands of years. If someone wants to destroy it, it won't be damaged without tens of thousands of years or even thousands of years. Whoosh! After the two finished speaking, they stepped on their flying swords and entered the deep space again. As the evil saintess flew through the air, her eyes were like silver snakes from time to time, peering into the depths. It seemed that her vision ability was not inferior to Su Fang's great circle. After 10,000 meters, the two stopped and sensed something again. This time, even Rakshasa Yu Changping sensed something, which made Su Fang excited. After another 10,000 meters, they passed through several floating forests. Suddenly, they heard the sound of wind being torn apart and saw the air in front of them spinning in the opposite direction. When they got closer, Su Fang and the evil divine mother were shocked at almost the same time. In front of them was a huge reverse windstorm. It was indescribable how big it was. It went deep into the misty forest outside the realm, reaching into the depths of the clouds. How can an outer realm windstorm be so fierce? The evil divine mother quickly recovered and looked at Su Fang. This is an outer realm windstorm. As long as you're in the outer realm, no matter which small world you're in, you'll see this kind of windstorm. It's just that the degree of the windstorm is different. Generally, when a windstorm forms, it means that the power of the outer realm is descending. It's drawing in the entire outer realm, causing some incomprehensible changes to occur in the outer realm. In truth, Su Fang had heard of outer realm windstorms before. It was just that he hadn't expected them to be so grand. Releasing a defensive aura, the evil divine mother protected Su Fang as they stepped into the reverse wind. Entering the wind was deafening for Su Fang. Because of his great circle ability, he could hear waves of ear-piercing wind in the depths of the windstorm. Wave after wave, he was forced to stop releasing his great circle ability. If this continued, he would definitely be injured. Feeling a bit more comfortable, he entered a bit more. He saw many floating forests. Following the windstorm's reverse rotation, they were moving at least 5 times faster than those floating forests outside. Chapter 368. Furthermore, They could see that the moving speed of the deeper floating forest was almost 5 times faster than the ones in front of them. You and I have to be extra careful. Do you see these floating forests? With their speed, if they hit you, you'll instantly turn into meat paste. Even a catastrophe realm expert would only have half a life left after being hit by such a forest. If you're hit by those fast-moving forests, you'll die on the spot. The evil divine mother warned in an abnormally serious tone. There are not only moving forests in the storm, there are also many small mountains and even mountain ranges. There are also countless rocks, trees, and all kinds of materials. There are also materials from the outer realms that have been sucked in by the outer realms. For example, the fragments of those shattered planets in the Star River. Any one of them can make any cultivator fall. There are countless small worlds with many outer realms. Why is it that these natural dangers harm people and have countless treasures, but humans can't do anything about them? Why don't they destroy them? That's because human cultivators are simply powerless against the outer realms. Even a supreme expert like the Lord of Five Poisons would fall when facing this storm. Su Fong immediately used the fire cloud wings, and the fire cloud steps were also in preparation. When a floating forest rolled past in front of them, whoosh whoosh, the two of them took advantage of the empty area and immediately flew deeper. When they encountered a floating forest, they would hide. Seeing that there weren't many floating materials in the surroundings, the evil divine mother immediately released her senses. This time, she could only sense a weak aura because the storm's power had cut off her senses and the Five Poisons aura. In an instant, they saw a huge mountain moving quickly towards them. The two of them were so frightened that they flew forward with all their might. Luckily, they were fast for a few breaths before they managed to dodge the moving mountain. They also didn't know why this kind of outer realms would form. The outer realm's power was too terrifying. This kind of natural power was enough to destroy any material. Life was too fragile. The evil divine mother who had lived for several tens of thousands of years felt that she would be torn to shreds by matter or the storm at any moment. She staggered as she flew into the storm that was several tens of thousands of meters long. At this time, the moving speed of the forest and the huge mountain was 10 times faster. They were practically sprinting and galloping, not much different from the flying speed of a heavenly fusion realm cultivator. We're close. The Five Poisons' true chi is in the depths and is also moving. A myriad poisonous silver snakes, poisonous gas, protected the evil divine mother. The snake's tongue flicked out, making the evil divine mother very happy. At this moment, Su Fong was so frightened that he looked panicked. A large area of broken giant trees seemed to be a broken and floating forest that had turned into a forest of ruins. It formed a 10,000-meter-long momentum and moved over fiercely. Unfortunately, Su Fong and the evil divine mother happened to be within 10,000 meters. Moreover, in less than 3 breaths, the two of them would be engulfed by the forest of ruins. Regardless of whether it was the flesh fetus divine armor or the Five Poisons' real body, even if they were not killed by a few pieces of broken matter, there would be countless pieces of broken matter behind them. The two of them would definitely be torn into pieces. The evil divine mother pointed to the front calmly and said, "Since we are unable to escape from the front and back, we can only go in the opposite direction and follow the speed of the storm. We will fly in the storm and shake off the fragment forest for a while before flying forward." Whoosh! In the blink of an eye, the two of them were swept up in the forest ruins, flying in the opposite direction of the storm. In this scene, Su Fong and the evil divine mother seemed to be flying in the opposite direction of the moving forest ruins. Miraculously, the forest ruins were unable to sweep the two of them. Increasing their speed in the reverse windstorm, the two gradually passed through the forest of ruins, increasing their speed by more than 10 times. The two had clearly shaken off the moving forest, and only then did they continue to fly deeper into the forest. In the end, they had only flown out of the moving forest of ruins a few seconds ago. Turning around, it was as if they were in an ocean. That large area of the forest of ruins was like countless ferocious demons pouncing towards the depths of the earth. The aura has disappeared. It should be on the opposite side of the storm. Let's wait for a while. The evil divine mother sensed for a moment. Suddenly, there was no aura, but she was very confident. The two of them continued to pay attention to the moving objects. From time to time, there would be forests or small mountains that would quickly move over. If they were not careful, they would be buried here. This wait lasted for several hours. Buzz, buzz. A silver snake once again enveloped the evil divine mother. Master, it really is the aura of the Lord of Five Poisons. At this moment, even Rakshasa Yu Chengping sensed it. It's coming. It's flying in the opposite direction of the storm. We still have to go deeper. I estimate that the corpse of the Lord of Five Poisons is in the forest or on the mountain. It's moving along with the storm. The evil divine mother brought Su Fong closer to the depths. As expected, after passing through many floating forests and moving mountains, a huge mountain range followed the storm from the bottom. It's in that mountain, the evil divine mother excitedly pointed. Rakshasa Yu Chengping also confirmed this point. Only then did Su Fong relax and follow the evil divine mother to the mountain below. The mountain grew closer and closer, and its speed was faster than the two of them. With no other choice, the two of them once again flew in the opposite direction of the storm. After 2 hours, they finally reached the mountain. Only when their feet landed on the mountain did they finally have a firm foothold. They no longer needed to fly. This mountain, it was completely bare, especially the edges. The trees were gone, and the soil was also gone. Su Fong found it hard to believe. Looking carefully, the mountain should have been in the middle of the storm. After being polished by the storm for a long time, many places were completely bare. The terrifying extraterritorial storms. If this continued, the mountain would completely disappear in a few thousand years. Inside the mountain, and in the valleys there were still forests. The evil divine mother stared at the valleys. The silver snake continuously flicked its tongue. It seemed that the corpse of the Lord of Five Poisons was there. The two of them followed the direction of the mountain, slowly advancing. When they reached the valleys, they immediately entered the forest and carefully advanced. Rakshasa Yu Chengping told Su Fong that the corpse of the Lord of Five Poisons was in the depths. The forest was also damaged, but it was much better than the outside of the mountain. What was strange was that these trees and plants could still survive in the middle of the storm. Master, you have to be careful of the evil divine mother. She has the Five Poisons' true body, and her body's essence is poisonous. Rakshasa Yu Chengping reminded Su Fong. In fact, Su Fong had always been worried about this. Although he was mentally prepared, he was still not confident. They passed through the trees and arrived at the center of the forest. The evil divine mother suddenly released another 10,000 poisons silver snake image. At this moment, some scales also appeared on her skin. The scales seemed to be breathing. What's wrong? Su Fong secretly asked. Rakshasa Yu Chengping replied. He sensed some aura. Master, you have to be careful. Perhaps there are more than just the two of you around here. Is that so? This caused Su Fongda to turn pale. Because of the storm, he had not used his Great Circle ability. He immediately activated it. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Who would have thought that at this moment, a large amount of poisonous figures would appear from above? They released quite a few poisonous people, as well as huge 10,000 poison silver snakes, huge spiders, and huge scorpions. It was as if they wanted to grind the two of them into meat paste. I didn't expect them to be so capable. They can also find the Outer Realm storm. The evil divine mother was furious. Seeing that she was about to obtain the treasure, there was no way she would let someone else snatch it first. She released a 10,000 poison silver snake formed from poisonous gas and bit the poisonous creatures that fell down, as well as various other attacks. At this moment, Su Fong dodged backwards. Seeing the large amount of attacks falling down, he knew that he was not her opponent. He might as well snatch the corpse of the Lord of Five Poisons first. Once he made up his mind, he immediately flew deeper into the forest. The evil divine mother was surrounded by attacks. She furiously glared at Su Fong, her eyes filled with killing intent. She did not expect Su Fong to snatch the corpse by himself at this time. which naturally aroused the evil desire in her heart. She was so angry that she wanted to kill Su Fong. However, she was already surrounded by all kinds of attacks. Who would have thought that at this moment, Su Fong, who had not flown far, would suddenly be intercepted by a large number of experts. These people were clearly experts from the Five Poisons Divine Sect. Kill. A middle-aged man appeared above them. He was clearly the leader of this group. Su Fong thought that it was the banner master from before who had chased after him. However, it turned out that they were not from the same group, but from another faction. Hua. Several young soul experts shot out poisonous gas. Their auras were like giant scorpions, poisonous spiders, and some stepped on 10,000 poisoned silver snakes. However, they all shot out poisonous flames at the same time, wanting to burn Su Fong alive. In addition to the strong poison, even if he could restrain the flames, he could not deal with the strong poison. This group of people saw that Su Fong was not from the Five Poisons Divine Sect and did not know how to restrain the poisonous gas. Formless fire cloud blade. Su Fong was also not to be trifled with. In a split second, he activated his fire cloud wings and dodged the flames shot out by all kinds of poisonous creatures. Then he released his illusory fire cloud, and a large number of blade auras fell down, stopping the Five Poisons Divine Sect's attack. However, the difference between his cultivation and the other parties was too great. He barely managed to shatter the poisonous gas, but the other parties still controlled the poisonous gas and approached step by step. Whoosh, whoosh behind him, the image of a snake flashed, and a large number of poisonous gas attacks flew by along with the snake. Evil Divine Mother Shi turned back into her human form. When she saw Su Fong being attacked, her gaze was no longer friendly. You can cooperate with me. I am a banner lord with the Five Poisons Sacred Flame insignia. The middle-aged man suddenly looked at the Evil Divine Mother with a somewhat appreciative gaze. The Evil Divine Mother suddenly looked at Su Fong, who was escaping from the attacks. Kill the human brat first. He has one of my sect's most valuable treasures, the Rakshasa Jade Bottle. What? The Rakshasa Jade Bottle is on him? The middle-aged banner lord turned pale with fright. What are you waiting for? He came back to his senses and waved his hand at the dozens of experts around him. Evil Divine Mother, you and I are not friends, but we are not enemies either, right? Why do you have to be like this? He did not expect the Evil Divine Mother to change sides so quickly. This caused Su Fong to calm down. If you're not my friend, then you are my enemy. The Evil Divine Mother was very fierce. The Rakshasa Jade Bottle is mine. Just as more experts surrounded and attacked Su Fong, little did they know, another large amount of poisonous gas descended. Dozens of people's auras flattened the forest, revealing the banner lords, young banner lords, and other experts. Things became lively. 2 banner lords, 2 large factions, the Evil Divine Mother, and Su Fong. There were 4 factions that came to the extraterritorial storm to snatch the corpse of the Lord of Five Poisons. It is still not certain who it belongs to. Kill them all. The middle-aged banner lord waved his arm. His catastrophe realm aura was grand. The experts around him not only attacked the Evil Divine Mother and Su Fong, but also the banner lord's factions. The old man also ordered the experts around him to attack, while the Evil Divine Mother and Su Fong were stuck in the middle. Master, I am controlling the poisonous gas. Don't worry. Countless giant creatures spat out poisonous flames, forming a shackling force that surrounded the surrounding space. At this moment, Su Fong felt that his life was in danger. The Rakshasa Jade Bottle used its ability in time to absorb the poisonous gas, so Su Fong did not have to fear the poison. He looked around. There were more than 100 catastrophe realm experts here, as well as 2 banner lords. They all wanted to snatch the corpse of the Lord of Five Poisons. Could he, an undying cultivator, obtain the corpse? The answer was obviously impossible. If he was indecisive, he would be thrown into chaos. Su Fong's gaze sharpened. You control the poisonous gas. Let's get ready to leave. Master, you don't want the corpse of the Lord of Five Poisons? Asked the Rakshasa original spirit in surprise. The corpse of the Lord of Five Poisons was not far away, almost within reach. They had come here with great difficulty. Were they going to give it up for nothing? Even the treasure's original spirit was unwilling. Chapter 369. The risk is too high. Adding on the fact that there aren't any treasures in this kind of environment, it's extremely likely that I'll die here. Find an opportunity to help me kill my way out of here. Su Fong held his breath. He hadn't lost his mind just because he had obtained the 5 poisons Heavenly King Cauldron. Since everyone knew he had the Rakshasa Jade Bear Bottle, Su Fong didn't hold back. He clapped his hands, and a large amount of 5 poisons true qi surged out, suppressing the surrounding poison. On the other side, you're also a banner master. Why don't we work together and take the Lord of 5 Poisons' corpse? The evil divine mother was surrounded. Above her, the old man and the middle-aged banner master were facing each other in the air. Neither of them was willing to take a step back. Work together. You and I are both banner masters. Both of us want to obtain everything the sect master left behind and then become the current sect master. Then we can re-establish the 5 Poisons divine sect. If we're enemies, how can we be friends? Sneered the middle-aged man. Bang! But who knew? The old man suddenly slapped out with his palm, releasing surging poison that transformed into a 30-meter tall palm. The middle-aged man was also a banner master. He was powerful and had quick reactions. He didn't dodge. Instead, he met the palm head-on, releasing a destructive aura. Hiss! Everyone was fighting, each of them wanting to kill the other. Not far away on the ground. Suddenly, the ground trembled and a boulder shattered. The boulder cracked open, revealing a pair of blood-red demonic lights. The demonic lights looked down at the humans fighting from the darkness. In the end, their gaze landed on the evil divine mother. The demonic light's eyes were filled with greed as it looked at the 2 banner masters. Boom! Boom! A large area of the forest was destroyed, especially in the sky. The 2 tribulation banner masters were fighting, and the forest within several tens of thousands of meters was almost completely destroyed. The experts below were also affected. The poison surrounding the evil divine mother and Su Fong was also torn apart by the 2 banner masters' auras. Su Fong looked around, trying to find a way out, but over 20 experts were surrounding him. The poison sect's experts were controlling the dormant poisonous creatures to crawl on the ground or run in the air. Chi, a large amount of poisonous fire, also formed 10,000 poisonous silver snakes. The long snakes swayed back and forth, suppressing Su Fong so that he was practically unable to cut a way out. With the Rakshas's jade vase, I'm not afraid of the poisonous gas. Su Fong restrained the poisonous gas. Although he couldn't escape, he wasn't in any immediate danger. The surrounding Yang-Ing realm experts still couldn't kill him. Swish! 2 enormous figures stepped on 2 10,000 poisons silver snakes, which were transformed from poisonous flames. They burned down even more enormous trees, and in the blink of an eye, they reached the depths of the valley. They were the 2 banner masters. There was a strong poisonous gas in the depths of the cave. The sect leader's corpse is mine. The position of the future sect leader is also mine. If you submit to me now, you'll become the vice sect leader in the future. The middle-aged banner master shouted domineeringly. Sect master, you don't even have the strength to shackle me. Wait until you do, but don't be the one to be shackled by me in the end. The elder's voice was filled with killing intent. The 10,000 poison silver snake beneath his feet shook the air once more. Its huge tail slammed into the middle-aged man. The middle-aged banner master also controlled his 10,000 poisons silver snake. With a rumble, the 2 silver snakes collided, and the 2 banner masters were forced to retreat. The 2 poisonous flame silver snakes once again tore at each other like 2 enormous dragons coiling around each other. In the dark, that pair of demonic eyes gloomily looked away from the 2 banner masters and stared at the evil divine mother. A strange smile appeared on the evil divine mother's face. An ray of poisonous light shot out from his eyes. The ray of poisonous light instantly flew out. It was impossible to see who was controlling it. Chi, The evil Divine Mother was currently fighting against a large number of experts. She was trapped in the poisonous gas, and the surrounding experts were also using their divine images to completely suppress her. Suddenly, the poisonous light landed on her side, and a strange round black substance rolled out from the poisonous light. The moment the substance appeared, the evil Divine Mother immediately sensed it. She took out a large number of runes, which transformed into 5 poisonous monsters that protected her from the attacks of the experts. She arrived at the black substance and waved her hand. A black disc magic treasure the size of a bowl appeared in her palm. Upon closer inspection, the black disc was roughly divided into 5 parts. Thus, there were many strange runes that caused the black disc to look like it was broken. Magic treasure. This was a magic treasure. Russell. The evil Divine Mother excitedly formed hand seals and carefully poured them into the black disc. The heavens are helping me. The heavens are helping me. The heavens have once again opened their eyes. The 5 Truth Magic Treasure has unexpectedly met you. 5 Truth Magic Treasure. The black disc was actually one of the 5 Poison Divine Sect's most valuable treasures, the 5 Truth Magic Treasure. Looking again, there really were carvings of the blood goo, horned scorpion, white toad, silver snake, and spirit spider on the magic treasure. I obtained it without any effort. If it belongs to me, then it's mine. You want to snatch the sect master's corpse in front of me? Dream on. The evil Divine Mother's eyes were filled with tears. She condensed a large amount of essence blood and directly wrapped the 5 Truth Magic Treasure. A magic treasure was trembling. The 5 poisonous monsters on it were actually alive and crawling. With a buzzing sound, the 5 Truth Magic Treasure suddenly turned into 5 parts. Blood goo, horned scorpion, white toad, silver snake, spirit spider. The 5 parts were the 5 monsters, and they seemed to be alive. They released a terrifying poisonous gas, and with the evil Divine Mother as their target, they all entered the space between her brows. Master, 100 meters away, Su Fong, who was under the protection of Rakshasa Yu Qingping, was being attacked by countless attacks. He could not breathe. Rakshasa Yu Qingping suddenly transmitted, I just sensed the aura of the 5 Poison Magic Treasure's original spirit awakening. It's in the evil Divine Mother's body. In an instant, Su Fongda turned pale with fright. How did she get the 5 Truth Magic Treasure and not go to the Lord of 5 Poison's corpse? Could it be that everything she said before was a lie? She already got the 5 Truth Magic Treasure. I'm also not sure, but it's clearly the aura of the 5 Truth Magic Treasure. I'm very familiar with its original spirit. It can't be wrong. Rakshasa Yu Qingping was also unable to explain it. Forget it. Let her have the 5 Truth Magic Treasure and the Lord of 5 Poison's corpse. I came to Wu-Tan Realm just to raise my strength. It's already lucky to get you. I don't want to think about anything else. He was not jealous, because it was impossible for him to get every treasure. Everyone had their own luck. It was natural for the evil Divine Mother to get the 5 Truth Magic Treasure. Boom! At this moment, a huge explosion erupted from the evil Divine Mother's body. This explosion actually shattered the poison gas of the surrounding experts. Dozens of people were forced back several steps, all of them vomiting blood. After the explosion, Su Fong stared at it for a moment. After fusing with the 5 Truth Magic Treasure, her strength has increased by more than 5 times. Rakshasa Yu Qingping said, the 5 Truth Magic Treasure is basically tailor-made for the 5 Poison's true body. The reason the sect masters of the past controlled the 5 Truth Magic Treasure is actually to prepare for cultivating the 5 Poison's true body. So when the 5 Poison's true body meets the 5 Truth Magic Treasure, it's like heaven and earth are made for each other. If this continues, the evil Divine Mother's strength will be on par with those 2 Banner Masters. Fine. Let the evil Divine Mother attract everyone's attention. Only then can I break free and leave this place. Su Fong also stared at the 5 Truth Magic Treasure. He did not relax and continued to cooperate with Rakshasa Yu Qingping. Kill. Fusing with the 5 Truth Magic Treasure, the evil Divine Mother was like a Rakshas's daughter. When the 5 truth magic treasure appeared, the 2 banner masters should have given the order to kill it. Only 3 of them remained behind to trap Su Fong. The rest of them charged at the evil Divine Mother. That was one of the 5 poison divine sects' most precious treasures. Who wouldn't want to obtain it? As for Su Fong, he was also an undying cultivator. Sooner or later, he would not be able to escape from these people. 3 peak yang soul experts. Once you use up a bit more of your true qi, you'll be able to trap me. Su Fong's body lightened, and he felt much more comfortable. Furthermore, he had an endless supply of true qi. He had 2 yang meridians of violet qi law spirit and powerful meridians. His true qi was more than 10 times that of an ordinary cultivator. He was not worried about running out of energy. The 5 truth magic treasure. 70 or 80 experts charged at the evil Divine Mother. You're all courting death. The evil Divine Mother looked around. Evil and poison filled her eyes. 5 huge creatures appeared around her. They were the blood goo, horned scorpion, white toad, silver snake, and spirit spider. The 5 lifelike poison beasts merged in an instant, becoming 300 meters tall. They then crazily rotated, releasing an invisible suction force. Swish, swish. Only the 2 banner lords knew about the 5 truth magic treasures. Tens of thousands of years had passed, and the 2 banner lords were not clear about the 5 truth magic treasures' abilities. The auras and divine abilities of the approaching experts suddenly twisted and scattered. They were all sucked into the 5 truth magic treasures. How powerful! None of the cultivators within 30 meters are able to escape. Looking at this scene from afar, Su Fong was astonished. Rakshasa Yu Chengping said, "The reason the 5 truth magic treasures have such power is because those people are disciples of the 5 poison divine sect. They have the 5 poison true qi, and the 5 truth magic treasures specialize in suppressing the 5 poison true qi. As long as they have the 5 poison true qi, they won't be able to resist the 5 truth magic treasure suppression. The poison in their bodies will be cleansed in an instant, and they will become the energy of the 5 poison true body. That's why the evil Divine Mother will become stronger and stronger. Every time she suppresses someone, she will gain another Yang Soul expert's power. So that's how it is. No wonder the suction force is so terrifying. Even Xian Wang can't do it." Su Fong's heart turned cold. Fortunately, he hadn't been so greedy as to cultivate the 5 poison divine powder after fusing with the Rakshasa Yu Qingping. Otherwise, if someone attacked him with the 5 truth magic treasures, he would have a hard time dealing with them. A group of ants, you're just giving me strength for free. The 5 truth magic treasures rapidly rotated. The evil Divine Mother quickly flew up, and the 5 truth magic treasures also moved with her. They had already absorbed over a dozen experts. The others were scared out of their wits, but they still used all kinds of poisonous attacks. They really didn't know the 5 truth magic treasures' abilities. Any poisonous substance or gas that approached the 5 truth magic treasures would be sucked in like energy. Only when the surrounding people used their magic treasures were they able to block some of it. But they were still sucked in by the 5 truth magic treasures one after another. The evil Divine Mother's current appearance was becoming more and more bewitching. It seemed she was using the 5 truth magic treasures to absorb the essence of every Yang Soul expert. It's too late to run. Invisible weapon disintegration. Less than half an incense stick's worth of time, only 20 people remained. They decisively gave up on attacking and turned to flee. The evil Divine Mother, who killed people like scything flax, sent out a palm strike. The huge 5 truth magic treasures above her instantly split into 5 monsters that chased after them. Pow, pow, pow. The 5 truth magic treasures had far surpassed the Yang Soul realm. That was because they were existences that had reached the peak of king-grade magic treasures. In the blink of an eye, there was a bloody mist everywhere. The 5 truth magic treasures either rampaged or spat out poisonous flames. In less than 3 breaths' time, not a single one of the 20 experts remained. It's time. Seeing this scene, He began to worry whether or not the evil Divine Mother would attack him. Activating the Rakshasa, Yu Champing, she spat out a whirlpool of poisonous gas. With a boom, it soared into the sky, blowing away the surrounding 3 experts. Why aren't you running for your lives? Let's see if any of your companions are still alive. She charged out and pointed at the 3 experts. Chapter 370. Su Fang's finger, coupled with his bell-like voice, had shaken the 3 experts to the point that they were like wooden statues. That's right. Nearly 100 experts had been sucked into the Wuzhen treasure. Although he couldn't see what was happening to them inside the treasure, he could imagine that all of their energy, flesh, and blood had been sucked into the 5 poison's true body. In the end, they had become bones. I'm not in the mood to kill you anymore. The evil Divine Mother stood on the 300-meter-long myriad poisoned silver snake formed by the Wuzhen treasure. She glanced at Su Fang and immediately urged the snake to charge forward. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The 3 experts who were lucky enough to survive quickly ran for their lives. With the Wuzhen treasure, you will definitely be able to obtain the corpse of the Lord of 5 Poisons. He originally wanted to leave as well. After pondering for a moment, he used his great perfection ability and focused his vision to look 10,000 meters ahead. Through the destructive aura, he saw the myriad poisonous silver snake formed by Wuzhen's magical treasure. Under the evil Divine Mother's control, 1 person and 1 artifact was actually fighting against the 2 Banner Masters. The myriad poison silver snake had the upper hand. Whether it was in terms of sturdiness or divine power, it surpassed the 2 Banner Masters. In addition, the evil Divine Mother's strength was constantly increasing. She was already on par with the Banner Masters. Seeing such an exciting battle, how could Su Fang be willing to leave? Whoosh! Under the pressure of the 2 Banner Masters' poison gas, the myriad poison silver snake's body suddenly shrunk, then suddenly transformed into 5 poisonous monsters. Blood Goo, Horned Scorpion, White Toad, Silver Snake, and Spirit Spider. The Spirit Spider was 30 meters tall. Its eyes were filled with ruthlessness as it began to shoot out poisonous threads. The myriad poison silver snake was only 30 meters long, but it was still as fast as lightning. It used its speed to break through the poison gas released by the 2 Banner Masters. The White Toad directly spat out poisonous liquid from its back. It was too disgusting. Any substance that was touched by the poisonous liquid would be corroded into white smoke. The Horned Scorpion's eyes shone with a ferocious glint. It was the toughest of the 5 monsters. It was not fast, but when it attacked with its poisonous stingers, they were as sharp as flying swords. Furthermore, they were filled with venom. The 2 Banner Lords did not dare to be careless. As for the Blood Goo, this was something Su Fang understood very well. It was also 10 zhang in size and was a huge monster. Although the Blood Goo's attack power didn't seem to be very strong, it actually directly absorbed the poison gas or the life force released by the 2 Great Banner Masters. It then melted the energy and secretly transmitted it to the evil Divine Mother. Just like that, the 5 monsters each had their own abilities and divine abilities. They were both good at offense and defense, and they could also supply energy to the evil Divine Mother at all times. The 2 Banner Lords used poisonous sword chi with a momentum that could split mountains and split the earth. They took turns attacking the 5 monsters with sword after sword. However, no matter how they attacked, the 5 monsters' treasures were as firm as rocks. On the other hand, the monster's reaction was extremely frightening. It dodged a few times, causing the sword aura to hit nothing but air. Instead, it left sword marks on the mountain. Silver Snake. Fight for a long time, the evil Divine Mother's aura became more and more valiant. It seemed that with the 5 true treasures dealing with the 2 Banner Masters, she could absorb the energy of all the experts she had previously suppressed. At this moment, her aura was burning. She had completely reached the height of the catastrophe realm. With such strength, even if she didn't have the 5 true magic treasure, the 5 poison's true body's ability would make it difficult for the 2 Banner Masters to kill her. Among the 5 monsters, the 10,000 poisoned silver snake suddenly swam over. It opened its mouth and sucked the evil divine mother into its mouth. Then, like a silver demonic wind, it flew directly into the depths of the forest. Oh no, she wants to snatch the sect master's corpse. Why did she obtain the 5 true treasures? The 2 banner masters instantly understood the evil divine mother's intentions. However, they didn't want to see the sect master's corpse being obtained by the evil divine mother for nothing. They really wanted to have a clone technique. Clone technique, even if they had one, they wouldn't be able to casually kill the evil divine mother like before. The 2 banner masters could only try their best to avoid the 4 monsters and then work together to attack the evil divine mother and snatch the sect master's corpse. Su Fong was closer. He also wanted to see if there was the 5 poisons heavenly king cauldron. He was somewhat unwilling. In fact, he also wanted to know if the evil divine mother would be able to obtain the Lord of 5 Poisons corpse. The corpse of an ancient powerhouse. The Lord of 5 Poisons whose strength surpassed Li Ziqing's and exalted Luna's. The Supreme who sealed countless small worlds tens of thousands of years ago. How could it not be attractive? Su Fong also wanted to see what kind of Supreme he was. In just a few breaths' time, the 10,000 poisons silver snake flashed into the depths of the moving mountain. At the end of the depths, there was a weak, poisonous gas naturally releasing its aura. The evil divine mother excitedly flew out and stood on the head of the 10,000 poisons silver snake. The snake swayed, and the head carried the evil divine mother in front of a patch of poisonous thorns. There didn't seem to be a corpse. Wrong. A poisonous fingerprint could be seen. Following the evil divine mother's powerful pressure, a large amount of poisonous thorns instantly flew out. A faintly discernible figure sitting cross-legged appeared on the ground like a stone statue. The figure didn't emit any poisonous gas. Only the surrounding soil and rocks carried some poisonous gas. It could be imagined that this figure should be the Lord of 5 Poisons. After falling for tens of thousands of years, his corpse had passed away here. The surrounding matter had invisibly absorbed his poisonous gas. Whoosh! The evil divine mother waved her hand. A gust of astral wind swept away the surrounding dust and debris. A stone man that was almost petrified and sitting cross-legged appeared just like that. Sect Master! She walked down from the head of the 10,000 poisons silver snake. Arriving in front of the stone man, the evil divine mother looked again. The stone man had practically merged with the dust on the ground. She couldn't tell if it was a human or stone. The evil divine mother sized it up and suddenly pointed. Bang! This finger energy struck the stone man's chest. Crack! The stone man seemed to be about to shatter, and with a slight tremble, large amounts of cracks appeared on the surface. Then, like a wall falling off, a red-robed man slowly appeared. The man was wearing a large red robe. He had sword-like eyebrows and a fierce gaze. Perhaps just this gaze could cause the earth to shatter. When large amounts of stone fell off, his body moved without wind. There were many bloody scars on his body, as if he had been cut by swords. The naked eye could see sturdy meridians under his skin, but most of them had already been shattered. The essence of the 5 poisons had solidified within them. The Lord of 5 Poisons is too powerful. He has been dead for tens of thousands of years, but his physical body is still the same. His physical body is 10 times stronger than Greenfeather King's. 1,000 meters away, under a large tree, Su Fong had used his full power. When he saw the corpse's true appearance, it was like he had seen those peak experts at Xinjia Gate, such as the Crystal Realm experts and Huiyan Realm experts. Once again, he felt a boundless and powerful might from the 5 Venoms sect master's corpse. This was a peak expert whose cultivation had surpassed exalted Yuezhin and Li Ziqing's. He was only half a step away from becoming an eternal immortal. Evil Divine Mother, from now on, your wish will finally come true. It was time to leave. If the evil Divine Mother really wanted to kill him, then she would merge with the Lord of 5 Poisons corpse. At that time, unless exalted Yuezhin attacked, he wouldn't be able to escape. Master! While condensing his chi, The Rakshasa jade bottle's primordial spirit suddenly appeared in his divine aperture. Strange, very strange. I don't know why, but I sensed the Lord of Five Poisons' aura flashing in the surroundings. Su Fong was startled. He once again looked in front of him. How is that possible? The Lord of Five Poisons died there. Maybe after he died, his aura completely spread into this mountain. His aura is everywhere. With how strong his aura is, it will never disappear. It's not strange that you sensed it. This, in short, I did sense it. Then let's wait. The Lord of Five Poisons' aura. Still around? It was very strange. The Lord of Five Poisons' corpse had passed away there. It was covered in dust for tens of thousands of years, and it didn't release any poison. The poison vine that had covered the corpse before had absorbed the soil that contained poison. The Rakshasa jade bottle hadn't sensed the Lord of Five Poisons' aura before. Furthermore, the evil Divine Mother had the Five Poisons' true body. If the Rakshasa jade bottle could sense it, could it be that she couldn't? There were always signs on the surface that there was something strange here. This kind of strangeness was something that even the Rakshasa jade bottle, the Five Poisons' true body, and the Five Poisons' magic treasure couldn't detect. Sect leader, tens of thousands of years ago, you erased my will and cruelly refined me into a poison man. In front of the Lord of Five Poisons' corpse, the evil Divine Mother approached step by step. Her true body began to transform, and a shocking Five Poisons' true body appeared. 5 heads protruded out of 5 essence poison gas, transforming into chains. The chains danced one by one, slowly surging towards the leader of the Five Poisons sect. The evil Divine Mother's eyes transformed into an evil poisonous smoke that boiled. It was as if there were countless deep worlds within her eyes. You would never have imagined that after tens of thousands of years, I, a disciple that you once controlled, would also seize your body. In the end, it was not me who died by your hands, but your everything that made me successful. Possession forbidden technique, divine image domain. The evil Divine Mother ordered the 10,000 poisons silver snake to protect her. Her 5 heads surged out even more life essence, fusing with the 5 chains. Then, the 5 chains hissed and trembled, continuously separating, slowly approaching the Lord of Five Poisons' ears, forehead, mouth, heart, and navel. It seemed to be a strange possession technique. The Lord of Five Poisons was like a big piece of fat meat that was about to be absorbed by the evil Divine Mother. The chains hissed and came to his ears, forehead, mouth, and heart. It felt like a myriad poisonous silver snake. It was too strange. Hua! The 5 chains instantly came into contact with the 5 parts of the Lord of Five Poisons and slowly drilled into the corpse. Mouth, forehead, ears, navel, and heart. Such an evil possession technique caused Su Fong, who was watching from afar, to feel his heart palpitate. Buzz, the 5 chains trembled, and immediately, streams of 5 poisons' innate chi essence gushed out from the Lord of Five Poisons' corpse. They kept buzzing, and finally, through the chains, they entered the evil Divine Mother's body. Wonderful! From now on, I, the evil Divine Mother, will be free from the Five Poisons' true body and become a true free body. The evil Divine Mother's 5 pairs of eyes were filled with a cold smile. Hiss! Hiss! At this moment, a strange sound came from the surroundings of the Lord of Five Poisons' corpse. The evil Divine Mother did not appear. She was wholeheartedly absorbing and possessing the Lord of Five Poisons' power. Whoosh! Suddenly, the 5 poisonous flames formed a pentagon around the Lord of Five Poisons and surrounded the Lord of Five Poisons and the evil Divine Mother. The poisonous flames burned fiercely, causing the evil Divine Mother to uneasily stare at her eyes. This is poo. It seemed that the evil Divine Mother did not know what had happened. But a strange thing happened again. A small white snake suddenly drilled out from the top of the Lord of Five Poisons' head. It was fleshy and full of spiritual light, but did not have a trace of evil. What was different from ordinary snakes was that, compared to the myriad poisonous silver snake, This small white snake actually had a pair of claws and seemed to have a pair of wings on its back. This is a jade dragon. When the evil divine mother saw the small white snake, her shock immediately turned into uneasiness. I didn't expect you to know about the jade dragon. Evil divine mother, this jade dragon was refined from my life's essence. It had long fused with everything about me. The snake's body is mine, and this fallen body is also mine. Unexpectedly, the small white snake actually opened its mouth to speak. You didn't die? Could it be that you really cultivated the divine dragon reincarnation technique? No, that's impossible. Isn't this forbidden technique of the 5 poisons divine powder incomplete? You also know about the divine dragon reincarnation technique. You must have spent a lot of effort in my headquarters. Fortunately, you are not an outsider. You are the 5 poisons true body refined by me. Chapter 371. That little white snake was like a baby, trembling as it spoke to the evil divine mother. The evil divine mother had already forgotten everything. She watched as the little white snake crawled out of the Lord of 5 Poisons' head with the sound of bones being torn apart. It was as if she was frozen stiff. Her body didn't react at all. The little white snake slowly crawled out. Not only did it tear apart the Lord of 5 Poisons' head, but it also tore apart his scalp and flesh. The evil divine mother wanted to vomit. No, didn't you die? Yes, I did die. The little white snake crawled out completely. Its claws slowly retracted. Back then, I was killed by an expert of the corrupt path. That despicable person even used a Tao item. Then you should be dead. I had long since prepared something. It was originally meant to be used in dangerous situations. It was the Jade Dragon. The Jade Dragon was a new life form that I used countless poisonous silver snakes and all kinds of poisonous creatures' essence blood. In the end, the silver snake was the main body. The snake shed its skin and turned into a holy dragon. I also used the sacred dragon reincarnation technique to cultivate the Jade Dragon. I didn't expect it to be so useful. When that expert killed me, he did indeed kill me. However, I had long since cultivated the Jade Dragon into a second clone. The expert killed my true body. Furthermore, before I died, I drew all my Yuan spirit and divine apertures into the Jade Dragon. It was equivalent to treating the Jade Dragon as my true body. After coming to the Wutan world, I had been cultivating. I also intentionally scattered some magical treasures to attract the divine sex descendants. I then found a suitable body to possess. I waited for quite a few people, but none of them were satisfied. I didn't expect the 5 Poisons true body to come today. This is the body I wanted. Sect Master, let me go. I was wrong. The evil divine mother actually begged the little white snake for mercy. It's too late. The little white snake's body suddenly turned blood red. It shot into the evil divine mother's forehead, and with a wave of its tail, it drilled into her brain. Why is the evil divine mother talking to herself? Far away, Su Fong couldn't hear the little white snake's voice. After all, there was a huge storm in the surroundings, but he could hear most of what the evil divine mother said. He thought she was mumbling to herself. The evil divine mother's body suddenly shook, and the 5 chains she released increased the absorption speed. The Lord of 5 Poisons' corpse was originally like a boulder, but now it was like a waterfall. Furthermore, of the 5 heads of the evil divine mother, other than her own head, the eyes of the other 4 heads were completely covered by the poisonous gas, as if they had fallen into a deep slumber. Evil divine mother suddenly let out a miserable scream. Her head began to be covered by the poisonous gas, as if she had fallen into a deep sleep. T. The snake's tongue also became jade white, and the snake became jade white. Not only that, but the snake's head was also transforming. First, it shed its skin. As the skin shed, the snake's head also began to transform. Once the skin was completely shed, the face of a man in his 30s replaced the snake's head. That man's appearance was exactly the same as the Lord of 5 Poisons' corpse. He was the Lord of Five Poisons. Absorbing my own energy is quite comfortable. I'll bid farewell to the past and welcome a new life. The Lord of Five Poisons formed a hand seal, and the other four heads disappeared. Her body also changed from a woman to a man. She was nearly 2 meters tall. She opened her mouth and controlled the 5 chains to absorb her own energy. How did the evil divine mother change? Finally, Su Fong saw the Lord of Five Poisons transform. Rakshasa Yu Chumping also said, "Master, it's too strange. The evil divine mother's aura is still there, but why is there an extremely strong aura of the Lord of Five Poisons coming from the Five Poisons' true body? Is it because she absorbed the Lord of Five Poisons' energy?" Su Fong didn't understand. He really didn't understand. Could it be that this was the evil divine mother's Five Poisons' true body? No. 1,000 meters away, the man absorbing the sect leader's corpse suddenly turned around, shocking Rakshasa Yu Chumping. That's not the evil divine mother. That's the Lord of Five Poisons. Impossible. Su Fong also saw the man turn around. When he saw his appearance, he was also shocked. He shook his head. The Lord of Five Poisons has been dead for tens of thousands of years. How can he be revived? His appearance is exactly the same as the Lord of Five Poisons' corpse. Perhaps the evil divine mother absorbed too much energy and temporarily transformed into the Lord of Five Poisons. You don't even know all of the Five Poisons' true body's abilities. Perhaps this is one of those abilities. No, Master. This subordinate feels the will of the Lord of Five Poisons from his body, not the will of the evil divine mother. They are both Lord of Five Poisons, but the will and Yuan spirit are different. This subordinate has followed the Lord of Five Poisons for many years. I can clearly distinguish the identity of the Lord of Five Poisons. Master, hide and prepare. What if it really is the Lord of Five Poisons? Once he revives, his strength is not something you can imagine. That's true. He immediately activated the Xianwang Six Paths Pagoda. Su Fong entered the Xianwang Six Paths Pagoda. The Six Paths Pagoda shrunk to the size of a finger and fused with a large tree. Rustle. In the surrounding forest ruins, a shocking aura suddenly erupted from the Lord of Five Poisons. He waved his arms and stared at himself. The corpse had already lost its divine aura. It was as if it was rotting and gradually lost its luster. Whoosh! The chain also returned to his palm. At this moment, one of the 5 true treasures, the silver snake of 10,000 poisons, hissed as it approached the Lord of Five Poisons and prostrated itself respectfully. It seemed that it recognized that this was its master. The Lord of Five Poisons took a step forward and came before the corpse. He grabbed the corpse's head with both hands. Clang! Clang! At the same time, suddenly, a few figures appeared from behind. It turned out that the 4 monsters of the 5 true treasures were chasing after the 2 Banner Lords. It seemed that the 2 Banner Lords' abilities were not simple. They could fight against the 5 true treasures to this extent. Where is the woman? The middle-aged Banner Lord rushed over and found that the evil divine mother had disappeared. There was only a man and a corpse. She should have been killed by this person. Look at him. He should be absorbing and possessing the hierarch's corpse. Stop him. The old man covered 10 feet with one step. With another step, he turned the surroundings into a divine image space. In an instant, he was about to reach the Lord of Five Poisons. The other Banner Master glanced behind him. The 4 huge treasure monsters were chasing after him. He also executed his great divine ability. With a flash, he and the old man attacked the 5 Venom's sect masters back at the same time. All of this happened in the blink of an eye. Suddenly, the silver snake of 10,000 poisons and the 5 true treasures that were chasing after them stopped. They did not have any intention of protecting the Lord of Five Poisons. Bang! The 2 Banner Masters unleashed the power of their godly avatars at the same time. With their greatest strength and fastest speed, they struck the 5 Venom's sect leaders back. Boom! Boom! The 2 Tribulation Realm experts' auras exploded, turning the surrounding soil, rocks, and forests into dust. The surroundings turned into a hole. The three of them and their corpses instantly floated into the air. Everything beneath their feet and around them disappeared. However, the Lord of Five Poisons did not even tremble in the face of such a terrifying attack. He continued to stand there, the light from his majestic back covering the two banner lords. Impossible. You didn't defend at all. You didn't even have any aura. You used your physical body to take on our attack, but you're fine. Everything turned to dust. The two banner lords were forced back several steps. When they looked at the Lord of Five Poisons' body, they saw that everything seemed very small. The Lord of Five Poisons' body was like a pillar supporting the Wu-Tan realm. Even if I let you attack my body for 10 years, you won't be able to harm me in the slightest, said the Lord of Five Poisons indifferently. Boom! He moved his hands away from the corpse in front of him. Who would have thought that the corpse that had existed for tens of thousands of years would suddenly collapse and explode, turning into dust? The Lord of Five Poisons suddenly turned around. His 30-year-old appearance had turned into that of a 20-year-old. The old banner lord was so frightened that he took several steps back. Who are you? Which Five Poisons' sacred fire insignia are you? Five Poisons' sacred fire insignia. The two of you possess the sacred fire insignia. So you think you are banner lords? The Lord of Five Poisons said in an otherworldly manner. The sacred fire insignia is a sacred item of our sect. It is not just a symbol of status, but also a treasure for cultivating the Five Poisons' true chi and the Five Poisons' divine powder. You don't know this, right? Who are you? The young banner lord was also shocked. You think you have everything just because you possess the Five Poisons' sacred fire insignia. In the past, which of the banner lords who possessed the sacred fire insignia did not have a cultivation several times higher than yours? Which one of them was not comparable to the leader of a small world? For the sacred fire insignia to be in your possession is an insult to our sect. Acting all mysterious, kill. The two banner lords seemed to have secretly communicated with each other. When the Lord of Five Poisons finished speaking, they took another step forward and attacked again. Five Poisons' imprisonment. The Lord of Five Poisons smiled. Swish! 5 rays of poisonous light instantly tore through the air. Bang! The aura that tore through the air caused the two banner lords to tremble and spit out blood. Any attack they used was crumbling. The two banner masters were already filled with fear and despair. Sacred fire insignia. The Lord of Five Poisons shouted. 2 insignia immediately flew out from the two banner lords. He caressed them and said, "It's been tens of thousands of years. This feeling is really comfortable, too comfortable. That's our treasure." The two banner lords had already been imprisoned by the Five Poisons' sacred fire insignia and were gradually being sucked into it. Even though they were fated to be suppressed, they did not forget about the Five Poisons' sacred fire insignia. Yours. However, these words infuriated the Lord of Five Poisons. His gaze sharpened. With a rumble, the two banner lords were instantly turned into a large amount of blood mist. They had instantly killed 2 catastrophe realm powerhouses. The blood mist was sucked into the Lord of Five Poisons' palm. It seemed that his strength had increased by quite a bit. The world has changed. Even I can't recognize the insignia that I should summon. Let's see how large the other sacred fire insignia holders have become after tens of thousands of years. Whoosh! The Lord of Five Poisons flashed through the air and disappeared along with the Five Poisons insignia. It really is the Lord of Five Poisons. Xianwang's space. Su Fang almost fainted from anger. So close, so close. Fortunately, he had entered the Xianwang Six Paths Pagoda in time. Otherwise, with the Lord of Five Poisons' killing intent, his head would have already fallen to the ground. It really is the Lord of Five Poisons. His method of resurrection was a forbidden technique he created in the Five Poisons' divine sect, the sacred dragon reincarnation art. In the end, the evil divine mother pitifully came and sent the Five Poisons' true body to him, allowing the Lord of Five Poisons to easily resurrect. Soon, the Lord of Five Poisons will once again stand at the peak of this small world, said Rakshasa Yu Chengping. The evil divine mother's schemes still fell to the Lord of Five Poisons in the end. She couldn't escape tens of thousands of years ago. Now, tens of thousands of years later, she still can't escape from the Lord of Five Poisons. Is this reincarnation? His heart was filled with all sorts of emotions. Chapter 372. At this time, there was no more movement in the surroundings. After waiting for an hour, Su Fong appeared. Thinking of the Rakshasa jade vase, Su Fong was worried that the Lord of Five Poisons would sense him. He stepped on his flying sword and immediately flew towards the outer area. After leaving the center, Su Fong directly left the outer region of the fog forest. Halfway, he met up with exalted Master Yuezhan and rushed towards the Falling Moon Mountain Range. A few days later, Falling Moon Mountain Range, Master. When Su Fong appeared in the sky, Feng Xingzhen and Mo Fengjun, the two experts, flew over from the city. When they saw Su Fong, they were extremely excited. Li Ziqing's consciousness also descended and guided Su Fong to fly into the barrier of the giant mountain. The Lord of Five Poisons has been resurrected. Inside the main hall, only Su Fong, Li Ziqing, Mo Fengjun, and Feng Xingzhen were waiting in the outer hall. After learning about Su Fong's thrilling journey, Li Ziqing also exclaimed in surprise. Big event, this is a big event. Just a moment ago, I learned that a place of immortals appeared in the outer region of the fog forest. I was wondering if you had obtained any treasures there. But compared to the resurrection of the Lord of Five Poisons, even an immortal place loses its edge. Li Ziqing's expression was like ice. You don't know that tens of thousands of years ago, the Five Poisons divine sect was unstoppable for a time. They were publicly recognized as the #1 evil faction, a great enemy of the righteous faction. Many factions were destroyed by them. The Five Poisons divine sect captured cultivators everywhere to cultivate evil techniques. Poisonous gas was released everywhere in the world. Who would have thought that after tens of thousands of years, a legend of a generation would be resurrected, and it was in the Wutan world? There will definitely be a lot of big events. Even the Green Lotus Sword sect is afraid of the Lord of Five Poisons. Junior also gained a lot this time. I suppressed 2 big goblin, obtained the Rakshasa jade vase, and also obtained a set of immortal level palm technique from the Baitian Immortal Sect. I wanted to take the opportunity to take the Baitian Immortal Sect, but who knew that the Green Lotus Sword Sect, Spirit Immortal Sect, and those other big factions would come out of nowhere. Junior had no choice but to give up. Don't offend these 2 powers. In this Wutan world, they can kill as they please. It's already very good that you've gained so much this time. Antique Wangu wasn't worried at all. After comforting him, he suddenly chuckled and whispered, "I've prepared another gift for you. It'll help you increase your cultivation." Is that so? Even though he didn't stand on ceremony, he was even more curious. I obtained quite a few good treasures in Xinjia Gate and collected a large number of cultivator treasures. Some cultivators even had spirit veins. There are too many treasures. After coming back, I've thought about it and decided to start increasing the strength of my clan. I've also built a marrow cleansing altar for you and me. Especially you. I can clear your meridians day and night and cleanse your entire body to help you cultivate faster. Follow me. After Li Ziqing finished speaking, he condensed a magical door. After the 2 of them entered the door, they were no longer in the main hall. It's an underground palace. The underground palace was even more spectacular than the imperial palace. Spirit stones and precious stones were embedded everywhere. Su Fong had already sensed dozens of people cultivating in a space nearby. There really was abundant spirit energy emerging from the underground palace. After entering the depths of the underground palace, Su Fong couldn't help but exclaim in disbelief at the pyramid-like altar. The altar was layered on top of each other. Each layer was very neat and smooth. It could be seen that after the altar was built, it had been fused together for a period of time to become a perfect altar, especially the lowest layer. It was definitely a spirit vein without any flaws. If a spirit vein was used to lay out a Tao field, only a large power would be able to do so. Fortunately, it was Li Ziqing. If it were any other Tribulation Realm powerhouse, they wouldn't be willing to take out a spirit vein. Spirit veins were treasures that could only be chanced upon and not sought. Not every place would have a spirit vein. Some Longevity Realm cultivators would also obtain a spirit vein if they were shrouded in destiny. This altar was built according to a formation. It can absorb energy from anywhere in the underground palace. Your physical body is powerful, so if you want to quickly increase your cultivation, you have to sit on top. During this time, you should first increase your realm and cultivate in peace. If you're in such a hurry to increase your cultivation, you will neglect problems that you can't see. If you don't resolve these problems in time, it will be difficult for you to reach the peak in the future. After forming a seal, the layers of the altar shone brightly. Li Ziqing indicated for Su Fong to ascend the altar. It was indeed a great gift. Su Fong flashed and instantly sat down on top of the 30-meter-tall altar. Just as he took a breath, a surging spirit energy came from the altar like a river. It was too terrifying. With this speed and this spirit energy, if Su Fong were to absorb just one strand, he would explode. It would be good if an ordinary cultivator could last for 2 hours. It was indeed a method that only an ancient powerhouse could create. Senior is right. I need to cultivate in peace for a period of time. At this moment, Su Fong didn't immediately absorb the spirit energy and accept the marrow cleansing power of the altar. Instead, he first adapted to this vast spirit energy and the marrow cleansing will. Then, he calmed down and began to carefully examine his physical body. Perhaps because he hadn't seen his physical body, Su Fong found it a little unfamiliar. Although he hadn't cultivated the third yang meridian, 2 yang meridians had already allowed his physical body to have several times more true qi. The third yang meridian was in the process of breaking through. The true qi formed some special auras in some meridians. For example, gold and silver. For example, fiery flames. For example, ice. For example, the black stone aura. These extraordinary auras seemed to be gradually blocking his meridians. If he hadn't been careful, they would have settled in more meridians, bones, and muscles over time. Actually, each type of power was something that Su Fong had fused with and absorbed before. For example, the fiery flame was the remnant of the illusory fire cloud after devouring various types of spiritual fire. The gold and silver were absorbed to repair the Xianhuang 6 Daos pagoda. The ink-colored stone was the special ink-colored stone essence that he had absorbed in the Xinjia Gate. Among the fiery flames and ice auras, there was also the heart of ice and heart of fire energy he had absorbed in the Xinjia Gate. There was also some energy in his other meridians. These are the high-level auras from the Xinjia Gate. Because Su Fong was a half-naked mortal, he couldn't completely merge with the high-level world's energy. The pure yang energy that came from dual yin and yang cultivation couldn't completely absorb and dissolve the great world's energy. Therefore, there were many inconspicuous places in his body that were like pools. After a long time, there would always be sediment. If he dared to recklessly devour high-level energy while in the undying realm, there would only be one outcome. In the end, he wouldn't be able to completely dissolve the high-level energy, and it would block his physical body for a long time. The true qi of the mortal world wouldn't be able to break through and refine it. In the end, his physical body would be sealed, and he wouldn't be able to circulate energy anymore. Of course, Su Fong might not end up like this, but in the future, if too much energy settled, it would have a great impact on his cultivation. At that time, he would start to dissolve it, and it would already be very serious. Apart from these problems, everything else about his physical body was normal. First, break through the physical body. Through repeated marrow cleansing, I'll absorb the different high-level energy. Then, I'll use pure yang energy and the mysterious nirvana origin power in my body to refine and fuse them together. Actually, these sedimentary auras are all high-level energy essences. His mind returned. Su Fong focused and fully released his physical body to perfection. Flesh membrane sizzling sounds could be heard as it burned. A cultivator's physical body would have a large amount of flesh membrane. It was fused with the body by true qi to protect the body. These flesh membranes were like layers of spider webs, interweaving the bones, meridians, flesh, and blood. Finally, when the blood membrane reached a certain level, it would form a flesh fetus divine armor. The power of perfection was activated, and the physical body was stretched. His hearing, vision, and sense of smell reached the pinnacle. Blood and true qi flowed in the unsealed physical body, constantly running wild. The life force was bubbling and burning. At this moment, Su Fong felt that his physical body was constantly enlarging and fusing with nature. Under the burning flesh membrane, the flesh fetus divine armor disappeared layer by layer. Su Fong used his physical body to sense the power of heaven and earth, preparing to accept the altar's marrow cleansing. At a certain level, Su Fong felt that he had perfectly fused with nature's aura. The flow of nature's aura was his body's breathing. Minor circulatory cycle absorption, from the soles of his feet to his palms, and finally to the top of his head. Countless meridians, dantian, divine aperture, and flesh fused together, causing his physical body to reach perfection as if it wanted to absorb nature into his body. He instantly absorbed the altar's marrow cleansing power. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The spiritual altar's spiritual energy surged, directly entering his body from every pore and sweat gland. His physical body was like a human sponge, absorbing the spiritual altar's spiritual energy at this speed. At this moment, Su Fong could clearly feel the power of the marrow cleansing. His physical body was like a stream. An invisible hurricane swept towards the stream in an instant. The stream began to raise waves, creating astonishing waves. The power of the marrow cleansing swept through his physical body like a hurricane. Su Fong did nothing. Just as he opened his physical body to perfection, the power of the marrow cleansing pushed his spiritual energy, circulating it from his feet to his head, from inside to outside, from dantian to meridians, from flesh to divine aperture. It automatically began to circulate as a whole. Many of the high-grade auras in his meridians, flesh, and blood began to be swept away by the power of the marrow cleansing. It would probably take a while for all the high-grade auras to be completely cleansed from his meridians, flesh, and blood. It wasn't easy for Li Ziqing to create this altar. He accepted this great gift, and he would return this favor in the future. Looking at the altar from the outside, Su Fong, who was sitting cross-legged on top of the altar, seemed to be swept away by a storm again and again, wrapping him in the center. It could also be clearly seen that Su Fong's skin had many impurities seeping out. Moreover, his physical body had no skin. Because his skin had been torn apart by the spiritual energy from the marrow cleansing, he was now covered in blood. Looking at his flesh, meridians, and flesh membrane, it was filled with bubbles of life energy. These bubbles seemed to be able to produce an endless amount of life energy. His physical body is truly extraordinary. In the underground palace, there was a barrier separating them from the altar. Li Ziqing, who was cultivating in the underground palace, saw through the barrier in the entire underground palace. He was shocked by Su Fong, who had turned into a body of flesh and blood. An antique that had lived for more than 10,000 years must have seen many things. But he had never seen such a body before. Was it human? The marrow cleansing power of the altar I created is enough to tear apart any undying or indestructible cultivator. Even most yang soul cultivators can't withstand it, unless they have an extraordinary physical body. But he is an undying cultivator. Not only can he withstand it, he can also control it easily. He stared at it for a while. Everything was within his expectations, but now that he saw it with his own eyes, he still couldn't believe it. The impurities in his body are so shocking. Even yang soul cultivators don't have such shocking impurities. What kind of energy did he absorb to produce so many impurities? Could it be because he absorbed too much high-level energy in the Xinjia Gate? Forget it. It's all thanks to him that I, Li Ziqing, was able to come back alive. In the future, whether I succeed or not, It's not bad to leave someone behind to take care of the future generations. Li Ziqing closed his eyes once again and began to cultivate. He was also in the process of recovering at all times. I have to persevere. When my physical body gets used to the marrow cleansing power of the altar, I can use the 100 acupoints finger art to guide and control the marrow cleansing power to attack the third yang meridian and the entire body. Waiting, he endured the endless pain brought by the marrow cleansing. After all, the power was higher than his cultivation. He had to pay a huge price to undergo the marrow cleansing. Chapter 373. The altar was created by Li Ziqing at the height of the catastrophe realm. If one was not a catastrophe realm cultivator, they would not be able to withstand this power. Su Fang faced the baptism with his undying body. Facing the backlash of spiritual energy, he felt like he was being cut into pieces at every moment. In the sea of bitterness, he thought of the humiliation that Prince Shui brought to him. What was the sea of bitterness? With one breath, he could change the world. If I want it, then the world must have it. If he had been intimidated by Prince Shui and retreated a little, then he would not have been able to reach the sea of bitterness realm. Gradually, his body seemed to lose weight. As the marrow cleansing storm slowly rose into the air, there was still no skin. Impurities kept surging out of the placenta. It's time to use the 100 acupoints finger technique to attack my body, especially the purple chi dharma spirit, the 2 yang meridians, and the tree root bridge. His eyes shone with a meteor light and divine power covered the area. Pa pa pa, his hands tapped his body again and again. In an instant, the entire altar seemed to be blocked by an invisible wall. Su Fang and the marrow cleansing power seemed to be silent together. Because the 100 acupoints finger technique sealed many of the meridians in his body, preventing the flow of energy, and the marrow cleansing power expanded in his meridians and flesh, causing the overall marrow cleansing power to be blocked. When he felt that his body was about to explode, he unlocked countless acupoints in his body. Boom! The sealed and solidified marrow cleansing power was like an invisible pushing hand, mercilessly pushing Su Fang's body. At this moment, Su Fang lost his senses with his body. Crackle, 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 then the impact caused his body to explode. He started to fall inch by inch. After losing his senses, he felt that his head was heavy and his feet were light. When he looked again, his body was bleeding. The impurities in the placenta were dirty blood flowing out. His body was almost in a broken and torn state. Only the 2 yang meridians, the purple chi dharma spirit, and the divine aperture were as solid as a rock. After absorbing the marrow cleansing power, he consumed a large amount of high-grade, pure elemental pills, marrow cleansing pills, various spiritual herbs, and a portion of immortal fruits. Any of these resources could not be obtained by an undying cultivator. To a yang soul realm expert, it was a luxury. But these resources that everyone dreamed of were all swallowed by Su Fang. In order to pursue power and strength, any resource would be consumed. There was no reluctance to part with it. Nirvana, origin power. He swallowed all sorts of resources and exploded with different energies. First, he urged the power of the 9 suns to fuse together. However, Su Fang understood that many of these energies had passed the point where his body could completely purify them. Some of them could not be melted and would settle in his body. In order to perfect the fusion, he first absorbed the power of 9 yin and the power of 9 yang from the primordial chaos sacred realm, allowing his body to reach a state of dual cultivation. He then began to absorb all kinds of energy. Then, he carefully sensed and stimulated the mysterious energy that had fused with his body. Nirvana origin power was the power of nature he had absorbed back in the heavenly gourd realm. Nirvana origin power was the supreme essence of heaven and earth, the foundation of all matter. It could fuse all matter into energy. That was why Su Fang was able to completely absorb high-level energy by dual cultivating pure yang energy and Nirvana origin power. Back when he was in the school of immortal sealing, It was because of these two powers that he had been able to absorb and control high-level energy. Soon, all sorts of strengths were perfectly absorbed by Su Fong. The exhaustion brought on by the impact instantly vanished. His mortal body grew even stronger, and his meridians became even harder. Even the countless membranes within his body became clearer. Next was the second impact of the 100 meridian finger technique. After the first impact, it formed a large circulation state. There were even more bubbles within his body. Each bubble was a world of life force. If he continued and reached the limit, it was said that a drop of blood essence could allow him to be reborn again or make his mortal body indestructible. The second impact was still painful, but Su Fong was already familiar with pain. Every impact was accompanied by a large amount of impurities within his body. After hundreds of impacts, and using the altar's spiritual power to cleanse his body, the impurities in his body became fewer and fewer. Su Fong once again sensed the countless meridians. There was no longer any energy remaining. They were all integrated and refined as he counted them. Now, every blood vessel was incomparably sturdy and connected with the meridians to create the most sturdy, perfect realm body. The fewer impurities in my body, the more it means that my mortal body and realm have reached the limit. Next, it should be the undying 7th stage and then the undying 8th stage. After calming down, although it was still painful when the majestic spiritual power poured into his body, his mortal body had reached a new height compared to before. In an instant, he activated all the energy in his body and released the seals in his divine orifices and dantian. Especially when the purple Chi Dharma spirit and the sealed energy of the two yang meridians had completely surpassed his mortal body. Feeling layers of tribulation Chi seeping out, Su Fong frowned. In an instant, he used the 100 meridian finger technique to seal the majestic energy in his body. Using the altar's power to cleanse his body, he undid the seal in an instant. Pung, 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 their explosive force rushed up one after another. Like the power of cleansing his marrow, it swept through his entire body. Then, waves of energy exploded, turning into the 8th stage. Following that, there were only a few impurities in his body. Some blood mist seeped out. Undying 8th stage Su Fong sized up the 8th stage energy, but he was not happy at all, because the undying 8th stage was still thousands of miles away from the catastrophe realm. How could he challenge Prince Shui in this realm? He still had to break through and accept the power of cleansing his marrow. Master, perhaps it was Su Fong's unwillingness and persistence that not only burst out from his body, but also into his magic treasures. In the profound yellow space, exalted Master Yuezhen, who was cultivating, suddenly said, "It is impossible to step from the undying realm to the catastrophe realm in 10 years. However, this subordinate once saw in the Xianjia Gate that there were people who used immortal fruits, special pills, and spiritual items to cut open their hearts and bodies. Using a knife, they cut open the spiritual items in their body. It will bring more unexpected power than refining spiritual items." Is it possible? Unexpectedly, exalted Master Yuezhen had a way. Su Fong was moved. Some people relied on this method to live for more than 10,000 years in the Xianjia Gate, but in the end, their spiritual items were used up and they still died. Exalted Master Yuezhen said, "Because the mortal realm's cultivators are imprisoned in the Xianjia Gate, they are unable to absorb the high-level law energy. They can only rely on self-exhalation to consume energy. After the cultivator's energy is used up, only pills and spiritual items are left to maintain their lives. Most of the trapped cultivators are peerless experts. Some of them, in order to conserve resources, don't consume them. Instead, they use a knife to cut open their bodies and implant pure origin pills or some natural spiritual items. This subordinate has personally seen it, and it is possible. However, there's a price to pay. Some spiritual items are unable to completely fuse with the energy and settle in the body, blocking the golden core and meridians. After saying this, it was clear that exalted Master Yuezhen already knew that Su Fong had a perfect physical body and could refine the high-level power of the great world. Therefore, he proposed this method. If Su Fong was just an ordinary cultivator, he wouldn't dare to propose it. For most cultivators, this method was just a futile struggle. It was just a slow suicide method to prolong one's life in despair. There were many miracles in this world, and they were all dug out in adversity. Half an incense later, Su Fong finally had a clear and calm gaze. He took out a large amount of resources for the junior commander, the servant, and Bai Ling to cultivate, and then took out an immortal fruit. At this moment, exalted Master Yuezhen stopped cultivating, as if he had never had this moment. In front of Su Fong, he had no distracting thoughts. Master, this method has only appeared in the Xinjia Gate. This subordinate has cultivated in the Zhuotian realm and other small worlds for countless years, but I have never seen this kind of cultivation method. If you succeed, Master, you will open up a heaven-defying path. Whether I succeed or not depends on whether I have the courage to try and not be blind. I have confidence and understanding myself, so I dare to try and challenge it. He took out a middle-grade magic tool knife from his empty bag. After thinking for a while, he finally used the knife to cut a wound on his right palm. Blood flowed out, and he quickly put a small piece of immortal fruit into the wound. It was just a very small piece of fruit. At the same time, he urged his physical ability to forcefully control his right palm, fusing his skin and flesh and squeezing the fruit piece into his flesh. The process was so painful that he was sweating. He urged all the strength in his body and began to absorb the fruit piece. Sure enough, the immortal fruit piece was slowly crushed by the squeezed flesh and fused with his muscles, blood vessels, and meridians. A cool feeling swept from his right palm to his right arm, and then there were some impurities deep in the surface of his right hand. Soon, his right arm was filled with a stronger swelling feeling than his left arm. The effect is indeed very special. It will also expel the impurities from the right arm. If I directly swallow and meld it, it will just turn into energy. The effect of oral ingestion was obviously different from implanting flesh. Although it was to transfer energy to the body, implanting flesh would expel impurities from the body. This was an ability that couldn't be achieved by oral ingestion. However, the whole process was so painful that Su Fong almost clenched his teeth. This was much more painful than the marrow cleansing impact. The most important thing was to see if there was any immortal fruits, aura, and impurities left in his right arm. He used pure yang energy to slowly pass from his right palm to his right arm. When it passed through some flesh or impurities at the bottom layer, there were indeed some remaining impurities. It doesn't matter. I can directly use energy to break through the impurities. These impurities are the same as the precipitated aura from before. This method was feasible, and the effect was very good. He felt that his flesh and the fruit piece had directly fused. Not only did he absorb the immortal fruit's essence, but even the fruit flesh was fused with his flesh and blood. The overall power it brought was 1/3 more than oral ingestion. This was a huge difference. If it was pills, how many resources could he save? By the way, don't I have an immortal fruit born from the immortal flower? Suddenly, Su Fong thought of the immortal fruit. Originally, he had planned to use the immortal fruit to advance to the yang nascent realm or break through the tribulation. Because the immortal fruit reached the peak of the yang nascent realm, it would be a waste to consume it now. But now he had mastered a new cultivation method. He could fuse with the immortal fruit first without wasting its ability. When he took out the immortal fruit and suddenly saw it, he thought of the scenes when he and Green Feather King were training in the Xinjia Gate. The most unforgettable scene was when Green Feather King stepped forward bravely to block the ancient flood dragon. Once again, it gave Su Fong endless power to move forward. He cut the immortal fruit into countless pieces, cut the immortal fruit into small pieces, and then cut the immortal fruit into small pieces. Then, he took out a dozen marrow cleansing pills. Chi-Chi, he waved the knife mercilessly. Su Fong cut a large number of wounds on his right arm, thigh, and abdomen. Every cut was like sending Su Fong into hell. One cut after another, it was like a demon from hell was torturing him. He hurriedly inserted all kinds of resources into the wounds, and then stimulated the power of his body to control a large number of wounds to heal, bringing pressure to his flesh and blood, and forcibly fusing all kinds of resources. At this moment, Su Fong felt different feelings in different parts of his body. Some were cool, some were cold, some were burning, and some were tearing. At most, he felt numb. The author's words, P.S. Recommend a good book, Peerless Divine Doctor. It will explode at the end of this month. Don't waste your red tickets. Vote for Jiojun. Chapter 374. Why is this vitality able to make me feel refreshed? Inside the underground palace, Li Ziqing sat cross-legged with his palms together. There seemed to be an extraordinary magic treasure in his palms. His strength was constantly recovering during the fusion process. At this moment, his skin and sweat glands were growing like spring grass. This made the old antique smile. He sensed it and looked at the spell altar. It really is this kid's doing. He saw that Su Fong's body was full of vitality. It was an aura that could revive all things. His vitality was so deep that even Li Ziqing was moved. Chi, what is he doing? Su Fong floated in the air and suddenly waved his right arm, cutting bloody wounds on his body. It was a shocking sight, and blood splattered everywhere. Most importantly, the blood was sucked into his wounds. Then, with lightning speed, he placed pieces of fruit slices and marrow cleansing pills into the wounds from the soles of his feet to his neck. He's cultivating the 7 great divine abilities of the immortal sealing sect. There doesn't seem to be such a cultivation technique. Li Ziqing was full of doubts. Is it from the demonic Tao? Or is it from the 5 poison divine sect? Or is it an incomplete cultivation technique from the great world? Even the old antique couldn't figure it out. He heard a sizzling sound and saw Su Fong quickly healing his wounds. Then he sucked all kinds of fruit and pills into his flesh and buried them. Similar. Isn't this a method used by some of the dying cultivators of the immortal Jia sect to save resources and extend their lives? Li Ziqing's eyes blazed. A genius. Not only is he a genius, but he also has the courage and ability that ordinary people can't reach. If such a junior can't reach the great Tao of the Celestial Empire, who can? On the spell, Alter Su Fong seemed to be cultivating, but because he had released his great perfection physical body, he knew everything about the underground palace. Naturally, he also noticed Li Ziqing's arrival. He still controlled his body and slowly melted the large amount of resources in his flesh and blood. Li Ziqing stayed for an hour before leaving. Whoosh! The spell Alter's terrifying power surged again and again. With each attack, the power of marrow cleansing drowned Su Fong. This spiritual power cleansed his marrows and merged the power of the fruit slices and pills with his body again and again, maintaining them in the great circulatory cycle. After countless rounds of marrow cleansing, his physical body had once again fused perfectly with the resources. There was nothing left behind. Immediately, he took out the small knife again and cut a large number of wounds on his body. After having a bloody wound, the immortal fruit slices and pills were quickly implanted. Then, the power of the 9 suns and the essence of the dragon taming would work together to heal the wounds. As this continued, Su Fong suddenly felt like his body was like the earth, like soil. Pills and immortal fruits were like seeds, dripping into the soil drop by drop. Then, through the vitality of the soil, all kinds of resources would grow. To nurture vital essence, nurture true energy, give birth to magical power. In such a wonderful state, Su Fong could only concentrate on cultivation. Outside the moonset mountains, woo-woo strong winds blew, threatening to engulf the city below. Only the palace at the peak of the mountain remained unmoved amidst the madness. Whiz, a bolt of silver lightning suddenly flashed from the direction of the wind. A red-robed man sat cross-legged on the mountain with his hands on his knees and his eyes closed. He slowly opened his eyes and looked forward. The aura of the Rakshasa jade bottle is in that palace. So he had come to find the Rakshasa jade bottle, because this person was the Lord of 5 poisons who had been revived not long ago. This child should have a king-grade magic treasure on him that suppressed my Rakshasa jade bottle. Otherwise, he would not have been able to leave the outer realm fog forest. The Lord of 5 poisons slowly controlled the 10,000 poisons silver snake. After pondering for a moment, an illusion separated from his body. Evil Divine Mother, do you know the background of that child? Sect Master, I'm not clear about his background. I only feel that he is not simple. So the illusion was the will of the evil Divine Mother. Unfortunately, the main body, Divine Will, and true body had become the Lord of 5 poisons. The evil Divine Mother was only a will for life. Which expert has arrived? From the depths of the clouds in the Moon Descent mountain range, Li Ziqing's will was transmitted. This made the Lord of 5 poisons quite surprised. What a powerful expert. I did not expect that in this small territory there would be such an expert who could sense the aura of our sect. Buzz. The clouds in the sky seemed to be separated by a huge force. As they moved, Li Ziqing's illusion appeared. The Lord of 5 poisons absorbed the 10,000 poisons silver snake into his palm and slowly floated away. After a while, the Lord of 5 poisons and Li Ziqing's will faced each other in the sky. I am looking for a young man. Oh, Li Ziqing was startled. The illusion gradually became clear. I still have the person you want here. It can't be. Your cultivation level is unfathomable. This person took a treasure that belongs to me. I have no choice but to come and take it back. After the Lord of 5 poisons finished speaking, he grabbed with his 5 fingers. In the void, Su Fang's illusion appeared. He had come to look for Su Fang. In that instant, Li Ziqing's breathing stopped. As if he had thought of something, he sized up the Lord of 5 poisons. You are the Lord of 5 poisons whose name shook the small worlds tens of thousands of years ago. The Lord of 5 poisons was shocked. It seems that I have come to the right place. Since you know of my sect, I hope that you will hand over that kid. I will not make things difficult for him. I just want to take back the Rakshasa jade bottle. He is my friend. How can I hand him over to you? Li Ziqing shook his head. I have just been resurrected. I did not expect that I would be forced to fight an expert like you today. It just so happens that I also want to see how powerful the Lord of 5 poisons, whose name shook the small worlds, is. You have just been resurrected, and I have been shackled for thousands of years. You and I are at the same level. To be able to exchange blows with an expert like you is rare. After a few words, the 2 giants were about to start fighting. Li Ziqing's figure once again became incomparably clear. Only now did his true body appear. The entire Moonset mountain range was protected by a barrier. 3 palms. Let's fight 3 palms. How about it? The Lord of 5 poisons extended 3 fingers. 3 moves is enough. Li Ziqing nodded and pushed his hands apart. Streams of powerful qi condensed between his palms. At this moment, the space trembled because of the distance between them. Qi. The Lord of 5 poisons' 5 poisons' true qi seemed to travel through the air. It arrived in front of Li Ziqing in the blink of an eye. Bang! Their palms collided in the air. Astral qi exploded, causing the space to shake violently. Deafening explosions came from the sky. Neither of the 2 experts retreated a single step. Origin Void Palm. Li Ziqing sent out another palm strike. Giant Scorpion's Fury. The Lord of 5 poisons also sent out a palm strike. Pa! The 2 collisions shook the world. The auras of the 2 giants were like countless sharp swords stabbing into the ground, causing the Moonset mountain range to shake. Ugh! The collision forced Li Ziqing to take a step back. His robe was rustling, but the Lord of 5 poisons didn't move at all. Seeing Li Ziqing step back, he still had a calm smile on his face. Bang! Before Li Ziqing could catch his breath, the Lord of 5 poisons sent out another palm strike. Boom! This time, the two experts didn't directly clash their palms. Instead, their palms collided. The sparks formed by the collision shot into the sky like fireworks. Boom! Boom! The moonset mountain range's barrier shook up and down. It was as if the barrier was about to be shaken off the ground. No divine powers, no Dharma power, only true chi. You're very strong. The Lord of Five Poisons still didn't move an inch. But, however, Li Ziqing's complexion alternated between pale and ashen. Very clearly, in this exchange, the Five Venoms sect master had completely taken the upper hand. Now I should hand her over. The Lord of Five Poisons was pressing. I won't hand her over. I have to ask for her opinion before I can make a final decision. Although he wasn't a match for the Lord of Five Poisons, Li Ziqing wasn't afraid at all. This was the aura of an old antique. Whoosh! At this moment, a consciousness flew up from a moonset mountain range. The Lord of Five Poisons was arrogant. He was about to make things difficult again when he was attracted by the consciousness flying over. Li Ziqing said to the consciousness flying over, "Kid, just stay down there." "Thank you, Senior. But this is indeed closely related to me. I can't just sit back and do nothing." The consciousness flew over. It was Su Fong who used the demonic disintegration seal and stripped the consciousness. What a familiar divine powers. The Lord of Five Poisons was still calm and composed. From the beginning until now, he had a domineering aura. At this moment, he was moved by Su Fong's consciousness. I remember now. The demonic path techniques are the demonic disintegration seal that only the supreme experts of the demonic path can use, right? Sect Master, you have a pair of sharp eyes. Su Fong came to Li Ziqing's side and cupped his fist towards the Lord of Five Poisons. It is the demonic path's demonic disintegration seal. I got it by accident and have some achievements after cultivating it. Let's not talk about these unimportant things. Sect Master, you came for the Rakshasa Jade Vase on me. It's good that you know. Save a lot of nonsense. The Lord of Five Poisons praised him. I got the Rakshasa Jade Vase by accident in the Outer Realm Misty Forest and fused with it by accident. Now it has fused with me. If I give it to you, it's equivalent to stripping my flesh and blood. The Rakshasa Jade Vase is the most precious treasure of our sect. It can't fall into the hands of outsiders. He didn't expect Su Fong to be so domineering in his words. The Lord of Five Poisons was the same. Neither side gave in. Sect Master, you and I can think of a way to solve this matter. Su Fong spoke again. Someone once stepped on my head and stripped my magic treasures from me. I swear that I will only experience that kind of humiliation once in my life. I hope you won't force me. Think of a way to solve this matter without fighting and killing. The Lord of Five Poisons murmured and smiled. This is interesting. No one can negotiate in front of us, not even immortals. I hope you can calm down and solve this matter. Li Ziqing also spoke. He also expressed his position, which was to advance and retreat together with Su Fong. Even if it was the Lord of Five Poisons, he would also face it with Su Fong. The Lord of Five Poisons had no choice but to be cold this time. Su Fong and Li Ziqing in front of him gave him an imposing aura, and he wouldn't take a step back. They could fight, and they could fight. Naturally, they could coexist peacefully. I've said before that the sect's treasures can't fall into the hands of outsiders, unless you're a member of the Five Poisons sect. The Lord of Five Poisons took a step back. Is that so? Li Ziqing took a deep look at Su Fong. The latter also understood the deep meaning of this look. In front of the two giants, Su Fong thought for a few seconds and immediately gave an answer. Sect Master, you've just taken over the Five Poisons' real body and resurrected, and the Five Poisons sect has long been reduced to flowing water and no longer exists in the world. I'm willing to help you rebuild the Five Poisons sect with all my strength. How about that? Of course, I also hope that the expert next to me can also help me rebuild my sect's forces. Smart people don't get tired of talking. The Lord of Five Poisons smiled and looked at Li Ziqing. At this moment, Li Ziqing suddenly had a look of realization. Sect Master, you've already made a plan before coming here. All right, I have nothing to do and just regain my freedom from the Xinjia Gate. I'm so bored that I can help you. Chapter 375. Straightforward. The Lord of Five Poisons clapped his hands at the two of them. My sect cannot watch the Five Poisons sect disappear in the river of history. Since it can be reborn, I must let the Five Poisons sect reappear in the eyes of the world. After speaking, he looked at Su Fong again. I don't want a Rakshasa jade bottle, but there are Five Poisons poison humans inside. My sect will use them to nurture disciples in the future. You must give me the Five Poisons humans. Poison humans are not of much use to me. With a flip of his hand, his palm flickered with poisonous light. Whoosh, 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 the five poison humans who were still sitting cross-legged suddenly appeared in the air. In the blink of an eye, the moment the Five Poisons humans appeared, they were sucked into the Lord of Five Poisons' palm. Li Ziqing immediately invited the Lord of Five Poisons to enter the Moonset mountain range. Inside the palace, many cultivators of the Leaf family gathered in a panic. Because of the battle between the two experts, the aura produced had affected the entire mountain range, as if heaven and earth were about to collapse. Only when the three of them flew into the palace did everyone calm down and leave the palace. Sectmaster, please have a seat. Li Ziqing did not stand on ceremony. After asking the servants to serve tea, the two leaders drank tea while chatting. As for Su Fong's will, he sat on the other side and did not return to his main body for the time being. You have cultivated for 10,000 years. To have such strength is already very good. After chatting for a while, both sides became more familiar with each other. It turned out that the Lord of Five Poisons was not like what they had imagined. He was not a giant crocodile of the evil path who opened his mouth to eat people and kill countless people. If he did not use his poisonous gas and aura, he was just an ordinary cultivator. After knowing how Li Ziqing and Su Fong met, especially knowing that Li Ziqing was a loose cultivator, he could not help but praise him. To be able to rely on himself to reach such a cultivation was indeed shocking. After chatting for a while with Su Fong, the Lord of Five Poisons suddenly raised his hand. Why have I not heard of the Celestial Sealing Sect? Li Ziqing looked over. That is a sect that was born in the Zhuotian realm less than 20,000 years ago. This sect's development is extremely terrifying and is already a first-rate righteous sect in the Zhuotian realm. Su Fong, you little brat, you're quite the character. Why did you have to compromise with the Celestial Sealing School? You don't need to be a disciple, just a nominal Dharma protector. That's much better than cultivating in the Celestial Sealing School. Senior, there's a reason why I'm doing this. There's a treasure that belongs to me, and it's in the hands of one of the leaders of the House of Immortal Sealing. I need to climb up the ladder step by step until I can take it back. After that, I could do whatever I want. The Rakshasa jade bottle is a good treasure. It can store a large amount of materials and imprison cultivators. Even people like me can only be suppressed once trapped in a Rakshasa jade bottle. Only by using an even more powerful magic treasure to shatter the bottle from the inside can we escape with our lives. As they continued to chat, the barrier between the three of them quickly disappeared. Su Fong wanted to continue his cultivation, so he took his leave first. Brother Li, at this moment, on a cliff behind the palace, the Lord of the Five Poisons stood shoulder to shoulder with Li Zhe, looking down at the Wutan realm. You and I have both been reincarnated. In the past, I'm sure you've comprehended a few things. To me, I still want to establish the #1 evil sect. I want the Five Poisons divine sect's name to shake the world. And in the future, when I go to the great world, I want to become a powerful evil sect. Help me this time. Otherwise, you'll be shackled by the Green Lotus Sword sect, the Spirit Immortal sect, and the other sections. You won't have true freedom. Sectmaster, you just possess the Five Poisons' true body. It won't be a short time before you recover your strength, right? Asked Li Ziqing. I don't have even a tenth of my previous strength. At my peak, I stood at the peak of any minor world. I'll need decades or even 100 years to recover. During this time, I'll focus on cultivation. The other thing is to recall all of the sacred flame insignias. Let's see if any powerful disciples appear in tens of thousands of years. After saying that, the Lord of the Five Poisons continued to sense the heavenly Tao. Deep within the altar, Bang Su Fong's physical body flashed with terrifying tribulation chi. Suddenly, the tribulation chi exploded. Terrifying energy pushed out a large amount of impurities. 9 layers. His energy went from 8 layers to 9 layers. Undying 9th layer. Su Fong felt a bit comforted. If this continued, he would quickly break through to the undying 10th layer and then break through to the imperishable realm. Although Su Fong had reached the undying realm, he was still very far away from the catastrophe realm. He was at the ends of the earth. But in the undying realm, Su Fong's strength and ability would undergo a great transformation. Master, this subordinate was careless and underestimated the Lord of the Five Poisons. If it weren't for Li Ziqing, the Lord of the Five Poisons would definitely have killed me. He was in the midst of a breakthrough, guiding the power of the marrow cleansing to help him advance. The Rakshasa jade bottle appeared in his divine aperture. He blamed himself. I can't blame you for this. I can only say that the Lord of the Five Poisons is too powerful. He only just came back to life, but he already has such power. He found me so quickly. When he had sensed the Lord of the Five Poisons when the moonset mountain range had trembled, he had been incomparably shocked. He had even thought of quietly leaving. But later, he resolutely faced him head-on. Fortunately, there was no danger. Chi-Chi, the power of the marrow cleansing, covered the power of the marrow cleansing. The two powers were like two fierce beasts attacking his physical body, wave after wave. He summoned another immortal fruit. Using a small knife, he cut the immortal fruit into dozens of pieces. The immortal fruit couldn't be too big. It was originally a high-level power, so it couldn't perfectly fuse with the body. After finishing his advancement, he opened up many wounds on his body. After swallowing the immortal fruit, Su Fong could feel many changes in his physical body, especially his recovery ability. The wounds on his body healed in half an incense stick's time. His recovery ability was truly terrifying. After breaking through to the undying 9th layer, his physical body continued to attack the marrow cleansing. Again and again. Yang Meridian, Violet Chi Spirit, Divine Aperture. Every moment, Su Fong's physical body and strength improved with the impact of the marrow cleansing power. The changes he experienced every day were astonishing. After continuous marrow cleansing for half a month. For Su Fong, who was in the sea of marrow cleansing, half a month passed like several years. He opened up another wound and let his physical body swallow the immortal fruit slices. He began to use the 100 acupoints finger technique to guide the marrow cleansing power to attack his physical body, preparing to break through to the undying 9th layer and undying 10th layer. His physical body had always been like a turbulent ocean, and the marrow cleansing power was like a storm setting off stormy waves in the ocean. During this period, there were also many impurities in the placenta, and he swallowed a lot of resources, such as the marrow cleansing pill. His eyes suddenly opened, and he used the 100 acupoints finger technique to seal the meridians in his body. They began to condense and expand. When they reached a certain extent, the seal was undone in an instant. Boom! His physical body shook, and a bloody mist rose from Su Fong's head. He felt his head rumbling and full of thunder, but he couldn't care less about that. Tribulation chi surged out of his body. At this moment, his physical body attacked in the opposite direction. The marrow cleansing power came from the outside to the inside, but this time it came from inside to the outside, releasing all the energy. Bang! The energy was like a hungry tiger pouncing on a sheep, shaking out and reverberating in the underground palace. Su Fong's mouth was shaken, and blood flowed out. He wiped it and immediately saw 10 layers of energy around him. Undying 10th layer, the peak of the undying realm. Great. Now that he had reached the undying 10th layer, the next step was to break through to the undying realm. If this continued, the undying realm would soon be promoted. After a while, the promotion ended, and Sufong once again guided the altar's marrow-cleansing power to cleanse his body. Buzz! Suddenly, among the countless meridians in his body, one of them suddenly moved. It was a burning meridian. When he focused his mind, he was immediately delighted. It turned out that the third yang meridian was burning with a shocking yang energy flame. The yang meridian was almost transparent, and under the flame, it was almost disappearing. When the flame slowed down, the meridian grew red. The crystal walls, flesh, and blood were all pure yang energy. Among the countless meridians, the yang meridian was like a piece of jade that connected all the meridians. This was the third yang meridian completed. Unexpected, really unexpected. The third yang meridian has been successfully cultivated. Now that I have 3 yang meridians, my strength has doubled. Sufong could not hide his excitement. No cultivation technique or Dharma treasure could compare to the 9 yang 9 transformations. His main task was to cultivate the yang meridians. With each additional yang meridian, his pure yang energy would double and become stronger. The more yang meridians he had, the more unfathomable his pure yang energy would become. He had broken through to the undying realm. Now that he had a third yang meridian, it was really a double blessing. He immediately absorbed the altar's spirit energy. As the marrow cleansing power flowed into the third yang meridian, most of his physical body's energy also flowed in. Soon, he felt his physical body collapse. Apart from the 3 yang meridians, the purple aura dharma spirit, and the divine aperture, his physical body was as light as a feather. Buzz! A strong cold qi suddenly surged out from the origin divine realm. Sufong was shocked. He immediately separated a strand of his essence soul and entered the origin divine realm. When he came to the ancient mirror space, the cold qi attacked, but he still could not move in the space. The mysterious woman's voice came from the depths. You have cultivated another yang meridian. Yes, I have cultivated the third yang meridian. I feel that the pure yang energy in my body is 3 times stronger. It really was the mysterious woman. Sufong respectfully replied. No wonder I felt that your aura was stronger. You have to remember one thing in the future. The more yang meridians you have, the stronger your pure yang energy. You have to absorb more sun and star energy. Sun and star energy. Do you know what the origin of life is? It's the stars, it's the sun. The stars contain supreme, pure yang energy, and it's the most enormous and mysterious energy. For example, the nirvana origin force in your body actually comes from the stars. It's the stars that project the stars into the river of stars, and the river of stars then forms countless small worlds. Then my cultivation method is to cultivate in nature. Yes, that's what it means. For example, if you were given a Tao item and cultivated in it, your future wouldn't be as strong as if you were cultivating in nature and absorbing the power of the stars. Tao items and resources are actually born from the stars and universe. In the end, they're all absorbing the power of the stars. However, any immortal or mortal cultivator would find it difficult to directly absorb the power of the stars unless they had a fortuitous encounter, and you are one of them. Remember this. If the effect of absorbing star energy is not obvious, you can wait for more yang meridians to form. In short, you have to slowly adapt and try. I am going into seclusion. Congratulations on obtaining the third yang meridian. Continue to work hard. The mysterious woman gradually walked away. Whoosh! His consciousness returned. After leaving the deep origin divine realm, Sufong felt much more comfortable. However, he did not understand. He had all kinds of doubts. For example, why was absorbing star energy not as effective as cultivating in a Tao artifact space? What exactly was the power of the stars? Was it the power of pure yang? In short, there were many more. The reason he was puzzled was because this was beyond his understanding. He was an undying cultivator, but what about the mysterious woman? Is star energy also natural energy? Forget it, my head hurts. I should continue to break through to the 10th level of the undying realm and start attacking the 4th yang meridian. I'll think about this later. In the end, he decisively gave up and continued cultivating. Chapter 376. The Power of the Stars. Su Fang's conversation with the mysterious woman had opened another door to beyond the heavens. Beyond the heavens was the outside. Given Su Fang's current level of power, there was no way he would be able to reach that level. Once again, he attacked the undying 10th division. After reaching a certain point, Su Fang turned his attention away from the Xianguang, within which floated a stone statue with its palms clasped together. It was a statue he had acquired from the heaven-worshipping immortal ruins. Su Fang had never had the time to study it, but now that he had broken through to the undying 10th division and had a third Yang meridian, he finally had the time to study it. The statue was 15 meters tall and covered in precious gems from the immortal world. Most likely, it was made from immortal stones and glowed with dazzling light. Presumably, it would have taken millions of immortal stones to create a statue like this. What was it used for? Exalted priest Bright Truth had mentioned that it might have been used to power the heaven-worshipping immortal ruins. There were some faint cracks on the statue. Because of his cultivation of the heaven-worshipping palm, Su Fang was able to get a general idea of the true text on the statue and was pleasantly surprised. Could it be that by using the heaven-worshipping palm, I can combine it with this statue to unleash an unparalleled attack? Having reached this point in his train of thought, Yang Qi couldn't help but look forward to using the heaven-worshipping palm. The Worship the Heavens Palm technique was a technique from a higher world, and although it was considered a priceless treasure trove in the mortal world, in a higher world, the Worship the Heavens Palm technique was nothing more than an energy art that could be mastered by any immortal. The heaven-worshipping immortal ruins couldn't compare to the door of immortal enlightenment. That door was incomparably mysterious and contained countless dimensions within it, as well as immortals. Whoosh! The invisible power of his palms fused with the statue. The statue erupted with terrifying energy, and two enormous palms appeared in front of it. Su Fang controlled the statue to use the heaven-worshipping palm. Wham! The statue trembled, and the two enormous palms shot forward 30 meters. Rumbling sounds filled the air, and the entire necropolis trembled. The statue's power seemed to be on the verge of causing the necropolis to collapse. Marvelous, marvelous beyond words. There are some incomplete true runes within the statue that can indeed support the worshipping heavenly palm technique. Now I have another method to deal with experts. He secretly circulated his qi and finally received confirmation. He was very excited. Dozens of stone statues have been obtained by different major powers, but in the end, would anyone be able to activate them? No, apart from Su Fang, who could open the stone statues, the others could only treat the stone statues as immortal stones or inlay them in the dojo's source to increase the dojo's high-level spiritual energy. It made the dojo seem like it was connected to the immortal world. Putting away the stone statue, Zhang Xian felt that he had already reached the undying 10th level. However, he still needed some time before he could reach the imperishable realm. He made more small cuts on his body, twice as many as before. More than 100 cuts were made, and immortal fruits, marrow cleansing pills, and other medicinal pills that could increase one's life force were fused into his flesh. Inadvertently, Su Fang saw a very shocking scene. The left arm formed by the dragon taming would also had a few cuts. He had just placed the immortal fruit into his flesh. Unexpectedly, the flesh immediately caused the immortal fruit to burn slightly, and then it quickly fused with it. Su Fang did not need to control his body to forcefully swallow it. He had also made a cut on the dragon taming wood's left arm before to fuse with the immortal fruit, but why did it not have this kind of fusion effect? Puzzled for a while, he took out another immortal fruit. Just as he was about to make a cut on his left arm, unexpectedly, the aura of his left arm caused the immortal fruit to naturally float to his left arm and close to the flesh of his left arm when Su Fang did not control it. The immortal fruit emitted a dazzling spiritual light and a fruity fragrance. Instead, the flesh began to absorb the energy. The immortal fruit gradually turned into a strange fruit water and poured into Su Fang's flesh. Strange. It was really strange. This time, without Su Fang controlling his body, his left arm could directly absorb the immortal fruit. What's going on? And his left arm also had a normal problem. The speed of absorbing the entire immortal fruit was not very shocking. If it was a slice of immortal fruit, the speed was very shocking. There seems to be some changes in my left arm. After thinking for a while, he finally placed the dragon taming wood on his left arm. Dragon taming wood is the wood essence born from the natural wood essence, and the immortal fruit is also the crystallization of wood essence. Because they are both wood essences, he took out another immortal herb. The immortal herb approached his left arm, but this time he did not make a cut. The immortal herb stuck to his left arm like an immortal fruit. Then, the immortal energy was slowly absorbed by his left arm. The speed was not shocking. It was like a trickle of water flowing through his heart. Since both immortal herbs and immortal fruits were fine, he took out an ordinary spirit herb. And this time, Su Fang guessed correctly. This spirit herb was not comparable to the immortal herbs and immortal fruits. As soon as it appeared, it was forcefully absorbed by his left arm. In just 3 breaths, the spirit herb's aura was completely absorbed. In an instant, it withered and lightly floated to the ground. Strange, really strange. I did not expect the dragon taming wood to change like this. This way, in the future, my left arm can freely absorb any wood essence. If I stimulate more potential, my left arm can even sense the wood essence of nature. His left arm was like a magnet that specialized in absorbing wood essence. Su Fang could not suppress his excitement. With this ability, in the future, he could effortlessly absorb any wood essence to increase his life force and strengthen his left arm. His left arm absorbing the essence was also equivalent to Su Fang absorbing the essence. I think the change in my left arm is related to my recent breakthroughs. The stronger my body is, the more perfect the dragon taming will merge with my body. Finally, with my perfect body, I can stimulate the ability of the dragon taming with left arm. If I break through to the imperishable realm. With this thought, Su Fang could not help but ask himself expectantly. Once he stepped into the imperishable realm, wouldn't there be other changes in his perfect body? The dragon taming with left arm, in the end, was still the ability of his perfect body. Imperishable realm. He had to reach the imperishable realm as soon as possible. He was very curious to see what would happen with his perfect body. He took out the immortal fruit. He had only used a small amount of the immortal fruit recently. This was a treasure that could strengthen the muscles and blood and increase life force. It was something that could only be found by chance. He would not waste such a treasure and immediately devoured it. Like the immortal fruit, there were several pieces of the immortal fruit. He cut open hundreds of fruits and poured the pieces into his flesh. Then, he guided the purification power of the altar to start the breakthrough. Imperishable realm. That was the only thought in Su Fang's mind. After entering the imperishable realm, he would have a chance to cultivate the Yang soul, which could kill people across space. There was nothing it couldn't do. Even cultivating the divine form required a Yang soul. Li Ziqing did not appear during this time. Perhaps he was entertaining the Lord of 5 Poisons. Who knew what the 2 leaders were thinking? In a universe of darkness, the 9 commanders, Bai Ling and exalted cultivator Yuezhen, were also cultivating and absorbing the high-level essence that Su Fang had refined. Just like Su Fang, they also crazily devoured the spirit power of immortal pills, pure essence pills, marrow cleansing pills, and deity fruits. There are only 9 commanders. When I reach the imperishable realm, I'll focus on suppressing them and preparing to build my own alchemy force in the Wutan field. The cave abode in the meteorite field is only a temporary place for alchemy. It can't be used for long. His thoughts were very clear. With a direction, he focused on absorbing the purification power. About half a month later, Su Fong took out a walnut-sized drop of blood. This drop of blood of the King of Frost is incredible. It contains the blood of a true demon. I can feel that exalted cultivator Yuezhen, who devoured the blood, has some true demon chi. I can devour this bit of blood and only absorb the essence of the deity. Resources. Su Fong was not sure of resources now, especially the body of the King of Frost. A deity's body was an endless treasure trove. It was an amazing way to improve the strength of his servants and himself. He even gave the essence of the deity to Gue to cultivate. Gue was not afraid of anything. As long as it was blood, it liked it. This bit of essence is enough to help me reach the imperishable realm quickly. I don't have much time. Even if the deity's blood contains some true demon blood and may have a great impact on my future cultivation, the future is too far away. I have to make sure that I can survive now. After obtaining the body of the King of Frost, Su Fong had only refined it for his servants and exalted cultivator Yuezhen to cultivate. He had only absorbed a dozen drops of ordinary blood once and reached the 6th level of the Undying Realm. This walnut-sized drop of blood was the immortal essence extracted from the Frozen King's body. Time. Every day that passed was a day less. For the sake of strength, he was willing to do anything. At least he had the ability to refine the deity's blood and use his Undying Realm body to bear the deity's power. Whoosh! He suddenly flew away from the altar. He had already reached the perfect 10th level of the Undying Realm. If he wanted to reach the imperishable realm, he could not do so in this underground palace. If you want to break through to the imperishable realm, do you need my help? After leaving the underground palace, Li Ziqing's thought came from the 9th heaven. Thank you for your kind intentions, Senior. The altar has already brought great changes to this junior. This junior intends to rely on his own efforts to break through. Leaving the Moonset mountain range, a figure was floating above the boundless mountain range. Li Ziqing nodded and smiled. Incredible. Although he has the help of the marrow cleansing power, it is still shocking for him to break through to the imperishable realm so quickly. It is beyond my expectations. In a forest tens of thousands of meters away. Master, don't worry about your tribulation. Figures appeared one after another. Exalted cultivator Yuezhen, the 9 commanders Bai Ling, and Gue. Gue liked Bai Ling very much. Now, she did not bother Su Fong. Exalted cultivator Yuezhen waved his hand and swept everyone into the surrounding forest, taking away a lot of resources. While guarding Su Fong's tribulation, they could also cultivate in nature. The immortal's blood essence is such a high-level power. It is bound to leave something in my body. Maybe it is something that I can't sense with my current realm. After building the altar and casting the barrier, Su Fong slowly released his aura. Xian Guang floated out. In the center was a trail of blood. It was just a trail of condensed blood. Exalted cultivator Yuezhen could fuse several drops at once. Su Fong could not compare to him, and the commanders could also absorb a few drops. Because they were demons, they were born to bear the power of nature. If they swallowed too much, it would cause blockages and the high-level power would suppress Su Fong's mortal power. In the end, it would be suppressed to the point that he could not cultivate, even if it was a drop of a mortal's blood, which Supreme Cultivator did not want to get it. Su Fong had it, but he kept quiet out of fear. Such a drop of blood in the body, who knew how much impact it would have on the future. Seize the present. He had to choose. Little did he know that at this moment his fingernails had already dug deep into his palms, scratching his skin. Blood was burning his fists. 10 years. I only have 10 years. 10 years ago, I could defy the heavens with longevity. 10 years later, I can still control the universe. My fate will be rewritten by me. At this moment, all distracting thoughts disappeared. He sucked the Xian Guang, where the blood was, slowly opened his mouth and swallowed the blood into his body. Pop pain an instant. When the immortal's blood entered his body, there was indeed the familiar aura of the true demon's blood. It was even more incomparable life force. But now, the immortal's blood energy entered his body. The moment it extended, its power completely surpassed Su Fang's body. Therefore, it pressed down on his body with an unstoppable force. Chapter 377. At this moment, Su Fang was once again in the sea of bitterness. The immortal blood essence, from top to bottom, pressed down on every inch of his flesh, meridians, and imprisoned fiercely. It was the same as when a giant's power entered his body. Boom! Boom! Perhaps Su Fang had underestimated the power of an immortal. Last time, when he absorbed the Frost King's blood, he only absorbed the Frost King's blood and did not refine it. This time, he purified the blood essence of the impurities. He thought that the current sea of bitterness was already the limit. But what followed was the immortal's power pressing down on his entire body, sweeping through the great heavenly cycle, causing Su Fang to explode from the soles of his feet to the top of his head. The explosion was astonishing, like thunder exploding in Su Fang's body. Su Fang's body was soon in a state of shattering and tearing from head to toe. What was even more painful was that his bones began to shatter, and his flesh began to completely shatter. A large number of tear marks appeared. Divine Apertriong, Meridian Purple, Chi, Dharma, Spirit Dragon Taming, with left arm, this was the only thing Su Fang could control now. He couldn't even control his body's Dantian. He released his Dharma power and controlled the pure Yang power in his body. With the Yang Meridian, the Dragon Taming with left arm, and the purple Chi Dharma Spirit as the center, an incomparable flame of life and pure Yang power exploded. At this moment, the pure Yang power covered Su Fang's entire body. The aura of the heavenly demon book and the power of Dharma treasures were no longer important at this time. This was because only the pure Yang power could restore the body and control the immortal's blood energy. Other powers couldn't do it at all. He also used the 9 Yang, 9 transformations, and began to absorb the cold aura from the primordial chaos sacred realm. Oh no, I didn't expect that the first time my body fused with the immortal blood essence, it would be so terrifying. Although Su Fang was in pain, he could still sense the changes in his body. At this time, countless meridians in his body had been broken, and his bones were shattered, fusing with his flesh and blood. At this time, it was impossible to tell whether it was blood or bones. Su Fang was in so much pain that he wished he was dead. His consciousness was very weak. If this continued, if it wasn't for the pure Yang power and the perfection of his body, he would have been shattered and died. His body turned into a pile of flesh and blood. This was the consequence of a mortal body being able to withstand and devour a high-level strength. Often, there were cultivators who would rush, but they didn't expect that this would only bring them temporary power. However, through marrow cleansing and head empowerment, the high-level energy would remain in the cultivator's body and eventually block everything, making it impossible for them to cultivate. After it was blocked, it would fuse with his meridians, Dantian, golden core, and bones. At that time, no method would be able to force it out. In the end, he died. This was also something that Su Fang had comprehended during his recent seclusion, to comprehend his physical body and cultivate. If not for this period of quiet cultivation, he would not have been able to sense the situation of his physical body. Caught in the whirlpool of pain, Su Fang could only suppress and persevere. Moreover, fusing with the immortal's blood this time was equivalent to reconstructing his physical body. What does it mean to reconstruct the body? Mainly, it was possession, or through evil means, planting power in another person's body to obtain a new physical body. Righteous Tao cultivators, on the other hand, usually cultivated a second clone. A small number of cultivators would be like Su Fang. They would use high-grade strength and treasures to shatter their bodies and then absorb the high-grade strength to reconstruct their bodies. At this moment, when the explosion and the high-level energy engulfed his body, too many impurities kept gushing out. It was really terrifying and scattered around Su Fang. Su Fang couldn't feel any strength in his body because his meridians, bones, and flesh were all shattered and broken. The only thing he could control was his Dharma power. This was also the difference between cultivators and mortals. If a mortal's body was shattered like this, it was equivalent to being disabled, but cultivators still had the divine aperture and Dharma power. When the divine aperture was formed, Dharma power was born. That was the principle. Dharma power controlled the pure yang energy, and fused with the immortal's blood chi and his own life force. Coupled with the magical power of yin and yang dual cultivation, gradually, the pressure brought by the high-level energy seemed to be weakening. Long every minute and second was very long. All Su Fang could do was try his best to fuse and control the immortal's power. Days passed. Almost 3 months passed. 3 months. This was the longest time Su Fang had spent cultivating during this period. 3 months was much longer than cultivating in the underground palace, until Su Fang's body burned with pure yang flames. Crackle. Once again, there was movement in his body. A huge force was surging in his body. Looking at Su Fang's body, there were already countless tears. One could see through his body. Su Fang didn't even have any bones in his body, only flesh and blood. And the pure yang flames drove the majestic life, force, and blood chi, turning into pure yang flames that burned Su Fang's body. Under the terrifying flames, part of Su Fang's body was actually being incinerated, gradually turning into dust, and then into fine powder. The blood chi fused with some flesh and blood, and bones grew out from it. When the flesh was burned into dust, bones grew out from it. Reshaping the body, he unexpectedly achieved the effect of reshaping his body after fusing with the immortal's blood. The main reason was because it was the first time he absorbed the immortal's blood. If he fused with the Frost King's power again, he wouldn't be able to reshape his body, unless Su Fang devoured several times the immortal's power. Although it's painful, I didn't expect it to grow so miraculously. Su Fang looked at his bones growing out one by one. He was finally relieved. When the bones grew out, the flesh and blood used the bones as the center, twisting and growing again and again. It felt really good. There wouldn't be too many scenes of watching the body grow. Gradually, a brand new body of flesh and blood was born. Blood, meridians, bones, and muscles were finally perfectly reshaped under the protection of layers of solid flesh membranes, until the skin grew out. Like a baby, this was Su Fang's first impression of his new body. Secondly, the hardness of the bones had reached an unimaginable level. It was estimated to be similar to a mid-grade magic treasure, and the meridians were also solid. The space was also much larger, and his whole body was full of pure yang power. Looking at his body again, only his left arm was still a little green-red. It seemed that the dragon taming would had not perfectly fused with Su Fang's body. Natural spirit treasures couldn't be fused in a short time. Moreover, Su Fang was only in the undead realm. Only when he reached a higher realm in the future could he perfectly fuse with the dragon taming wood. Next, prepare to transcend the tribulation. Instantly, he took out an astonishing amount of resources and swallowed them together. In the process of swallowing, Su Fang began to use all the energy in his body to break through to the peak of the undead 10th stage. A few days later, Su Fang's body exuded some tribulation chi. Therefore, the sky gradually changed color, and some dark clouds gradually surged over. The heavenly tribulation was sweeping over. With my undead 10th stage strength, without relying on any magic treasure or external force, my strength has reached the undead 5th stage. Breaking through the heavenly tribulation is no problem. Su Fang compared his own situation with the immortal slaves in the true demon blood plate. He clearly recognized that his current strength was at the undead 5th stage. It seemed to be very different from before. If he was at the heavenly union 10th stage, his strength should be at the longevity 10th stage. But this time, why was his strength only at the undead 5th stage? The main reason was the difference between the undead and undead realms. This was the key to determining strength. Leapfrogging. Geniuses could cross a step, and people like Prince Shui, Shang Changsheng, and Huang Lingyao could cross several steps. But it was very difficult to cross a big realm. Su Fong was now at the undead realm. How could he cross the undead realm? The shackles brought by realms were unimaginable. If Su Fong stepped into the undead realm, then he would have the strength of the undead 10th stage at the undead 1st stage. At this time, the sky was covered with dark clouds. The sky was full of lightning, thunder, and some familiar tribulation fire, and astral wind also pressed over. Su Fong rose into the sky, grabbed his sword Qi, and stared at the dark clouds. Qi, the first heavenly tribulation, came very quickly. It was a large number of layers of astral clouds. It looked like clouds, but in fact its power was boundless. The astral clouds collided with divine power and reached the undead realm. A large number of astral clouds fell like bubbles, layer after layer. Su Fong took the initiative to attack, condensing a large number of sword Qi and flying out. Bang! Sword Qi and astral clouds collided head-on, like magic treasure against magic treasure. Su Fong flipped his hand, and the sword Qi suddenly increased, cutting the astral clouds from the center, from the head to the tail. The powerful tribulation method split the heavenly tribulation just like that. Qi, Qi. The second heavenly tribulation came quickly. This time, 3 layers of heavenly tribulation merged together. The first layer was tribulation fire, the middle layer was astral wind, and the third layer was thunder fire. The second layer of astral wind rolled up tribulation fire and thunder fire. In an instant, the 3 layers of heavenly tribulation turned into a terrifying whirlpool of heavenly tribulation power, suppressing Su Fong. What a powerful heavenly tribulation! Su Fong activated a pagoda shadow. Disillusion pagoda shadow. This was the magical power of the fusion of the illusory fire cloud and Xianwang 6 paths pagoda. The pagoda shadow immediately rose, and the shadow covered Su Fong. It looked like a pagoda mountain rising against the heavens. Tut, tut! The 3 layers of heavenly tribulation hit the pagoda, but it didn't instantly crush the pagoda. On the contrary, the pagoda directly shook the heavenly tribulation into the sky, resisting the power of the heavenly tribulation. Boom! The power of the heavenly tribulation was torn apart by the pagoda, instantly crushing it. Although the heavenly tribulation was terrifying, Su Fong's strength had long surpassed the undead realm. With the fusion of the illusory fire cloud and Xianhuang 6 paths pagoda, it was not a problem for him to shatter the heavenly tribulation. The third heavenly tribulation. The pagoda shadow disappeared, and the second heavenly tribulation turned into smoke. Looking at the tribulation cloud, suddenly 6 bolts of lightning formed. The lightning absorbed all the tribulation cloud, tribulation wind, and Tiangang Qi and Disha Qi in the heavenly tribulation, and also the tribulation fire, forming 6 terrifying lightning tribulations. Lightning in nature, it was the most terrifying power. It was also the tribulation power that killed the most cultivators in the heavenly tribulation. If he used defense to deal with such a lightning tribulation, it was indeed dangerous. Su Fong deeply understood this point. Even if it was a heavenly tribulation, so what? He couldn't be passive. Heaven-worshipping palm technique. Suddenly, the 6 lightning tribulations that absorbed all the power of the heavenly tribulation fell one after another, like the blade of creation cutting the chaos. Buzz. After performing the hand seal, an ancient figure encapsulated Su Fong's surroundings. It was like a celestial being worshipping the heavens. No, this was the heaven-worshipping palm art. It was like an ancient giant sitting cross-legged in the sky. Then it put its palms together and looked at the 6 lightning tribulations. As Su Fong's eyes widened, the giant figure put its palms together and pushed 2 giant palms to grab the 6 lightning tribulations. It was as if it wanted to seize the heavens. It was as if it wanted to destroy the heavens. Under the cover of the lightning, the heaven-worshipping palm art was 1,000 feet long, like a giant's giant hand. It slapped at the lightning tribulations, and the 6 lightning tribulations were slapped dozens of meters away, and then they split into hundreds of lightning tribulations in an instant. This was because the huge power brought by the heaven-worshipping palm art had completely surpassed the heavenly tribulation and shattered the 6 lightning tribulations, which meant that Su Fong had passed the heavenly tribulation. As expected, countless lightning tribulations gradually disappeared, and the dark clouds in the sky began to dissipate. At this time, a natural aura that changed Su Fong's body and turned it into a fire spirit seeped into his heart, and Su Fong felt extremely comfortable. Pa pa pa. His body was shattered again, but it was quickly restored. When he looked at his body again, there was no aura of immortality, but an aura that was as solid as a rock. It seemed that his true chi had weight. It seemed that his Dharma power had turned into an ocean. It seemed that his body and the aura of nature had merged into one, and there was a sense of stability. This was the indestructible state. Chapter 378. After advancing to the fragmentation realm, the changes in his physical body were very obvious. Bone structure, his entire body's bones were like blood crystals, and his flesh was like steel. This allowed Su Fong to possess the iron sheet shackles, the most powerful physical body. Using his physical body to fight against a high-grade Dharma artifact, a high-grade Dharma artifact couldn't break his body. How powerful was a high-grade Dharma artifact? Only a Yang Soul Realm cultivator could wield the true power of a high-grade Dharma artifact. In other words, a high-grade Dharma artifact was as hard as a Yang Soul Realm cultivator. Su Fong's physical body was also as hard as a Yang Soul Realm cultivator. The Undead Realm. I can reach the Undead Realm in a few years. However, Prince Shui is a Catastrophe Realm cultivator, and breaking through to the Undead Realm isn't as easy as breaking through to the Undead Realm. In the next few years, I have to find a way to suppress the young commander and use my advantages to fight against Prince Shui. The Celestial Sealing Sect had rules. Disciples were not allowed to use Dharma artifacts in fights in the sect. Therefore, they relied on strength and divine abilities. Su Fong's advantage was that he could use the Dharma artifacts in his body to transmit endless power to himself. He also had 3 Yang Meridians. As long as the Xianhuang 6-Path Pagoda could transmit power that reached the Catastrophe Realm, Su Fong would also be able to wield the power of the Catastrophe Realm. At that time, he would have a chance to fight against Prince Shui. Once again, the number of wounds on his body was twice as many as before. Slices of immortal fruits, various medicinal pills, and a few slices of the undead fruit were all pressed into his flesh. Then he released the perfection realm of the physical body to control his body. The large number of wounds merged perfectly in a short time. His body's recovery ability reached a terrifying level. At this time, the heavenly tribulation dispersed, and the earth was like spring. Su Fong sensed that everything was full of vitality. Therefore, his body was also fully recovered. ZZZ, he melted his body into slices and used the power of the 9 Yang to cultivate. His hands were forming seals from time to time. Unexpectedly, there was a big tree on his left. As his left arm danced, some branches and leaves approached his left arm from time to time. A gust of wind blew some leaves into the air. One of the leaves fell to the left of Su Fong, but it was absorbed by his left arm. At that moment, the withered yellow leaf, half of which was still green, was just absorbed by his left arm, and the leaf shook. A surprising scene, the remaining half of the leaf's green color began to spread to the other half. The green color actually caused the withered leaf to recover bit by bit, turning it green and tender. Why can the withered leaves recover their vitality? When he looked again, the fallen leaf had become a brand new leaf. It was even more lively than the fallen leaves on the big tree. His attention was fixed on his left arm. Could it be that the subduing dragonwood's left arm contains wood essence? Combined with the power of the 9 suns, it formed a special life force that allowed the fallen leaf to become so new. His heart trembled. If that was the case, then the left arm was too inconceivable. This kind of ability was universally shocking. The death of a person was like the extinguishment of a lamp. The fallen leaves left the tree because they had reached the end of their lifespan and should become a part of the earth. When a person died, a cultivator could think of all sorts of methods to reconstruct the body, revive, and cultivate again. This was an ability that only peerless powerhouses had. It was impossible for a fallen leaf to change the color of life. It was impossible to rely on the fallen leaf itself. Cultivators can't do that. But at this moment, it was being realized by Su Fong. Previously, his left arm could directly absorb the immortal fruit's aura, and now it can even restore the fallen leaf's vitality. It should be because he broke through to the imperishable realm. He didn't know if the other abilities of the perfected body had also undergone a great transformation. He calmed down and released his body again. It was as if he wasn't wearing clothes and was unrestrained. He could breathe and walk in nature. Su Fong could hear all kinds of sounds clearly, such as exalted cultivator Yuezhen, the 9 commanders Bai Ling, and Gue Ge who were cultivating nearby. When he looked ahead, he could see the scenery within tens of thousands of meters in detail. He could only roughly see the areas further away. After releasing the perfected ability, his condition was as if the world had slowed down. His breathing slowed down, his heartbeat slowed down, and the wild wind in nature also stopped instantly. The wind turned into a long river of wind. All kinds of sounds on the ground became fewer and fewer. Su Fong could hear any movement 100 meters deep in the ground. For some reason, all the aura in the world became natural as he breathed faster. When he breathed slower, the world also seemed to slow down. He couldn't explain it, but it should be related to the perfected ability of the body. The ancient cultivators all had perfected bodies. The ancient cultivators were the ones who made the insignificant human beings create magic power, create the cultivation civilization, and give humans the ability to live forever. They made the dream of stepping into the galaxy become a reality. Therefore, the perfected body must have different abilities, and these abilities must be stimulated by one's own potential to be developed step by step in the cultivation process. I wonder if I can make the dead would regenerate with my left arm. He looked at a dead tree nearby that had already withered long ago. He walked to the dead tree in a few steps, opened the 5 fingers of his left hand, and gently pressed on the tree. Slowly, he sensed that there was indeed some wood elemental essence in his left arm. It was pouring into the deadwood, but there was no obvious change in the deadwood. Obviously, the current ability of his left arm was still unable to restore a dead wood in a short time. However, Su Fong activated his pure yang power and stimulated his left arm. The wood elemental essence of the dragon-taming wood was 100 times stronger, and it poured into the dead wood in an instant. Buzz, at this moment, the dead wood, its roots, and the ground were trembling. The deadwood was peeling off from the inside. Many bark and dead branches fell, and some new branches suddenly grew from the inside. Releasing his left arm, Su Fong's breathing sped up. I can restore the deadwood with my left arm, but it will consume a certain amount of energy. It's already good. I don't know if it has such ability. He returned to the array formation where the tribulation was. Suddenly, he thought of something. Didn't he still have a wood elemental natural treasure? He grabbed the Xian Guang in his palm, and the flaming cloud spirit gourd slowly rose. The spirit gourd was a fruit formed by a giant tree that had lived for countless years in a heavenly gourd domain. It took 10,000 years to bloom and 1,000 years to bear fruit. Moreover, it could only bear a few fruits each time. This was a spirit treasure that only existed in the Zhuotian domain. It was unique. The dragon-taming wood and the flaming cloud spirit gourd are both wood elemental spirit treasures. During this period, I have been cultivating the flaming cloud spirit gourd, but the effect was not too obvious. It also made the flaming cloud spirit gourd's improvement very slow. But now, can I think of a way to add the power of the dragon-taming wood to the flaming cloud spirit gourd's cultivation? In Su Fong's eyes, the flaming cloud spirit gourd had unlimited possibilities in the future. If it could become a high-grade magic treasure, It could definitely absorb a world, a territory, and a city like a Tao artifact. In addition, the flaming cloud spirit gourd also contained an astonishing amount of vitality. It should be very easy for Su Fong to cultivate. I wonder what will happen if I activate my left arm and the flaming cloud spirit gourd at the same time. After thinking for a while, Su Fong activated the flaming cloud spirit gourd and the power of his left arm, allowing his left hand to grab the flaming cloud spirit gourd. At this moment, the flaming cloud spirit gourd was releasing a faint spiritual flame. The flaming cloud spirit gourd had been refined into a fire elemental spirit gourd under the creation of the Qing family of the Broken Sword sect. Seven-star demon Island Su Fong hurriedly had Feng Xingjun, Emo Feng Jun, and the other servants stay in the Moonset Mountain range to gather all kinds of pill materials and buy pill cauldrons. They began their preparations. Half a day, Latera, terrifying barrier covered the land in front of them. The surrounding clouds were cut apart. Su Fong flew over alone and stared at the blessed land in front of him. He couldn't help but click his tongue in praise because this was the Green Lotus Sword sect, a powerful sect with over 100,000 members. A sect with a sealed immortal foundation was much stronger. After a while, a figure flew out from the barrier. His speed was astonishing. Master. The figure was none other than Gu Shizhen, who had been suppressed the last time. Bring me to the transportation formation. I want to go to 7-star Demon Island. Su Fong gave Gu Shi a rune talisman. There are over a dozen drops of immortal essence blood here. It will be of great help to you. Many thanks, Master. Gu Shi held the rune talisman excitedly. This was immortal essence blood. He didn't know if it was true or not, but Su Fong wouldn't joke about it. He immediately led Su Fong into a mysterious door. The monster that had lived for tens of thousands of years was invincible in the underwater world. The Leech King gradually slowed down as they moved several feet underwater. Together with Su Fong, they saw that the underwater world in front of them was in an irregular and transparent state. Master, this should be a region of water controlled by extraterrestrial forces. We don't know what dangers lie ahead. Let's return to the surface. With the Leech King's approval, Su Fong didn't want to take the risk and returned to the surface. The Leech King then returned to Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda. In front of him was a mountain range. It was almost floating on the surface of the water, and it was slowly rotating on its own. He was used to seeing moving or floating extraterritorial lands, but he had never seen an extraterritorial land rotating on its own. The power of heaven and earth was truly unpredictable. The speed of rotation was not very fast. After Su Fong got used to it, he looked around and found that the other mountains and rivers were also in a circular state. Just as they flew into the mountain range, a huge figure emitting a demonic aura suddenly flew towards the mountain range from another direction. It was blood purple in color and wasn't huge. It was about 3 feet long, a powerful, big goblin. Its strength has reached the young nascent soul realm. Big Goblin Su Fong was abnormally excited. If other cultivators saw him like this, they would definitely think that there was something wrong with his head. The big goblin flew into the mountain range. He released his perfect circle ability to take a look. It was actually a blood purple bat that was 3 feet long. The bat's entire body was red, and only its claws and head were purple-red. It looked very easy to recognize. He immediately asked the 9 commanders and quickly got an answer. This was a purple gadfly bat. Purple gadfly bats also existed in the Zhuitian domain. This kind of big goblin was very common, but it liked to live in the depths of dark caves. It would only appear when it was hungry. Therefore, it was hard for ordinary cultivators to see this kind of monster. The purple gadfly bat went deeper and deeper into the mountain range. When it reached a canyon, the purple gadfly bat slowed down. It turned out that the canyon was bottomless. Master, there's a lot of demonic aura. This mountain range should have more than a dozen monsters that are as powerful as the purple gadfly bat. We can capture them all and make them small commanders. Xianhuang secretly transmitted his voice. Xianhuang's Six Paths Pagoda's ability to sense demonic aura was much higher than Su Fang's. Su Fang firmly believed this. After entering the 300-meter canyon, it was originally pitch black, but soon some white light appeared. It wasn't very strong. When they got closer, they saw that it was a cave filled with all kinds of spirit stones.